Strap in. Here we go. Hello, and everyone, and welcome to the Coming of Shadows, the Babylon 5 retrospective. This week on the show, we've got the season 2 wrap up before we head into season 3. Oh, I'm so excited. We're going to talk about season 2, maybe our best, worst episodes, the character arcs, arc of the season, all that good stuff. And of course, we want to hear from you in the chat on your thoughts on these issues as well. But before we do that, I have to bring in my co-host, the man who even Vorlons recognize. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening, Babylon 5 fans.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes. Good evening. Anything you do we need to talk about before the show gets started? Should we jump right into it? Oh, wait, yes. I have something. I almost got killed today. I almost hit a deer. Those of you who have seen pictures of the outside of the dugout, you know, I live in a bit of a rural area, and there's this road that's kind of rural, but everyone takes it to get to the highway at like in the morning and the afternoon coming home. So it's usually pretty busy, but they do have, deer warning signs. This deer, I mean, the road was packed. I don't know why this deer decided. Anyway, jumped out right in front of me, slammed on the brakes, missed it. It went by like a shot. I was like, I could, read its facial expression, see the fear in its eyes. It was that close. I swear it was not 10 feet from where I was sitting, maybe 2 feet from the front of the car and just went by. I barely even saw it. I guess I'm going to walk around a little more, but it was dark and, I've never been that close to one. That was pretty close. So that was my day. I could have had a big dent in my car and stuff. I'm sure nothing exciting happened to you, Cam.
It could have crashed through your windshield and
yeah, it's the moose that usually do that. Deer don't usually. Funny story. A couple years ago on a different road, I was driving along and this guy was ahead of me about 100, 200 meters, and a deer ran across. This was in the morning too. Minivan hit the corner of the minivan, and I swear the deer shot up 10 meters in the air. I kid you not. It went up like a rocket and then came down, landed on its neck, jumped up and ran away. And I was like, what the hell? The guy stopped, and I stopped with the guy, and the quarter panel of his minivan was dented in. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I think probably died, a half mile away or something.
Well, that was, when I came back 20 minutes later after dropping the kids off at school, the cops were, walking around the area trying to find it and, with a shotgun and maybe shoot it in case it was injured or something. But anyway, that's my deer story.
All right.
Well, all right. Let me
bring in the boys.
You don't have anything I guess you don't have anything that exciting, right?
No, not today.
All right. Let's bring in Jeff and Jason. Gentlemen, good evening. How are you this evening?
Tired.
Excited?
Excited.
Excited? Everyone's a little muted. All right.
What? I'm not muted.
No.
Did you mute me again?
Oh, no, that's muted in your enthusiasm.
Oh.
All right.
Jeff, you're really roboting.
What do you mean, really roboting?
Really?
I'm hearing all
I
kinds of
didn't notice
roboting.
it.
Maybe it's me.
Maybe it.
Well, let's say who's in the chat. Dean's in the chat. Madman's in the chat. Who else do we see? Jeanette is in the chat. Good to see you, Jeanette. Dave's in the chat. Good to see you, Dave. All right. Good evening. Yes. Good evening. Umbra is in the chat. That's good. I took a left at Albuquerque. Ended up in the other queue. Oh well. As long as you're here now, that's the important part. All right. And it says, did I miss anyone? I think that's it. It says we got 12 people. The rest of them are hiding away. That's fine. No problem.
It's you, King.
PB's in the chat just came in. The rest of the people are lurking down below. That's all right. No problem. No problem. All right. I'm sure we're pretty keen to get into the show. So we'll do the trivia real quick, and from last week, and then no trivia tonight, and then I'll go over what the show, the format of the show real quick, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let me pull up my trivia questions. Here we go. All right, trivia from last week. What race is Zeta Squadron training to fight? Which government department is Lance associated with? What is the name of the captain of the Narn cruiser? What does Ivanova give Sheridan for Christmas? And who does the Centauri warship fire on first? I think all those questions.
That's a trick question.
Wasn't obvious. So all right. What are the answers? The Centauri is who the Zeta Squadron is training to fight. The Ministry of Peace, Lance is from there. Nakal is the captain of the Narn cruiser. Sheridan, a piece of the Black Star. And the Centauri warship actually fires on Babylon 5 first. I mean, it's kind of all together.
It's a spread.
If you watch it detailed, you'll see.
Only because it's on the left and they fire left to right.
Yeah, that's probably why. But technically, that is the correct answer. All right. All right.
It's a stretch. It's a stretch.
It's a stretch. All right. Okay, great. So the show, what we're going to do first is we have all of our regular panelists on, and we're going to talk about in general the overall arc. Cam, correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, since you're going to be headlining everything and keeping us on track as usual. I'm going to talk about the overall arc of the season, and then discuss the arcs of some of the major characters, that sort of thing, and then maybe talk about our. Around then we're going to start bringing in our guest hosts at that point. So Dean is if you're in the chat, Madman if you're in the chat, Michael if you're in the chat. Who else? Outpost Nerd has come on. If any of you guys are in the chat, I'll post. I'll send you the link, and we'll have you in one at a time, and give us your thoughts on the season. All right, Cam, take it away.
Okay, well, maybe a quick review on the main storylines, and if you guys disagree, we think there's additional significant storylines we need to add, we can do that. The first one I've got is basically the kind of the slow burn of what's going on with Earth. They start to uncover this conspiracy regarding Santiago's death. And then, we also have the Psycor angle of that, which has come up several times. It's kind of popping in and out. And we still don't have a clear view on exactly what that was, but it's still there. And then, of course, we have the kind of the centerpiece, I guess, of the most overt action, which is the Centauri and Narn War, which has really started and ended all within this season. I guess there were some skirmishes before, but it was officially declared during this season. And then, of course, we saw the whole, hey, Snugs, saw the whole tragic end to Narn, all in season 2. And then, of course, along with that, we've learned more and more drip by drip about the shadows. And then, in addition to this, we have kind of simmering in the background still quite a bit, but again, it pops in and out, is what's going on with the Minbari and Delenn, and kind of how strife is happening behind the scenes. I don't think it's really internal, and I don't think anyone else really knows much about it at this point. And then also kind of simmering is the Rangers and what they're and the Army of Light, which we learned from Sinclair that he's working with this group called the Rangers of humans and Minbari, and then he's connected with Garibaldi and Delenn originally, and then they brought Sheridan into it, and of course Kosh is kind of overseeing this whole thing, or at least attached to the whole thing. So those are the main story points, storylines that I had. I'm sorry, what?
I said I wonder why.
Yeah,
why is
Does anyone
attached?
Well, yeah. Does anyone have any other major storylines that I missed there, or is that
Kefir? No.
Okay,
Kefir?
so
no, you didn't like Kefir.
Oh, Kefir. Well,
is he major storyline though?
No, I guess
no.
not
He's kind
major.
of a part of the Shadow storyline, really. When it comes down to it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to start out? Let's start out with the Earth one, if because chronologically, I think that's where it kind of started. Because Sheridan, and this is of course tied in with Sheridan. Sheridan came in, as the new replacement, which is due to these machinations going on with Earth. And we find out later that that's General Haig put him in this, essentially orchestrated putting him in this position. Technically, he was put there by the president, but behind the scenes, General Haig is kind of leading this resistance, which we find out about. And we haven't gone that deep into it. We're still kind of seeing hints of it. Let me just throw it to let's start with you, Jason. Do you have any?
Sorry, can I make a comment before you?
Sure.
I just find it, looking back at over the season, I'm surprised at how far how far the storyline is. We started the season, Sheridan wasn't even here. He shows up.
Right.
Garibaldi was half dead. Yeah. Delenn was still in her cocoon. I mean, we've come, huge ways. It's a
they did cover a lot of ground.
Pretty major transition from season 1 into season 2. There was a lot of things hanging.
And a lot less chaff in this season too. There were a few, but a lot more main storyline content in every episode.
Definitely.
So, okay, can we go to Jason now?
I didn't mean to derail. So I just want to mention
thoughts on the Earth centric storylines. Anything that stands out to you or you like in particular?
Not anything in particular. I think this season feels a little more cohesive. That's generally the case, especially with science fiction shows. They got to find their footing, get their legs underneath them. And you're right. You have the added challenge of a new lead actor. The ensemble dynamic changes with that, and I think you've got everything worked out pretty well with the mix up. There are a lot of plates spinning this season. And the Earth thing, maybe we could have had a little bit more, especially after the reveal of the Rangers. I think they kind of they kind of vanished for a little while after we got the reveal that they existed. We didn't see them that much until the finale. So I don't know. Maybe we could have had a little bit more there. At least a mention of them when they got into the whole Psychor thing. I don't remember them being involved in investigating any of that. So, maybe a missed opportunity there. But I think overall for the Earth storyline, we got about as much as we could probably expect.
Just a note on that, and you might have been in that episode. Is when they had the the episode where Lita came back. They had when the guy on Mars was running and he ended up dying, and he met with another guy. That was a ranger there that apparently got that information to Lita, and then went to that storyline. And then we did see that they mentioned it kind of half and off screen is the Rangers got through the message to Narn. But you're right, they're kind of light in this season. They were kind of mentioned, and they show up once or twice, and they don't even really mention them. In some of these cases.
Yeah.
But spoiler, we'll see a lot more from them coming up soon. Jeff, what about you? You got any Earth centric story thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously we've seen a couple of Sheridan's buddies pop in, but are they from Earth? Really, they're kind of they've been out across the galaxy more than anything else. The general, and or is he general, admiral, whatever he is. It's kind of been a little light on a lot of the Earth stuff, other than obviously we know Psychor is doing some shady stuff, and I don't know, and it's kind of I'm looking for more stuff. The Rangers. I don't know if they're necessarily. I don't think we've really seen the Rangers doing anything on Earth per se, have we? Just Mars, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know that we've really seen any scenes on Earth at all.
I don't
think we
think
have.
so in this season. Almost maybe by design. I'm guessing. So we've got to see. I mean, we saw the Gropos, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen stuff from Earth, but we haven't seen Earth. What's going on Earth? Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Agree, totally.
Okay, well, Snob, what about you?
Yeah, no, I think Jeff's right. There hasn't been really anything about Earth, like other than we've had some people from Earth come and say, various things. Well, one from Mars saying, "Hey, you got a traitor in your midst." That's not from Earth, but people come from Earth to check out what's going on. But it hasn't. We don't really know much about Earth, other than, maybe General Haig a little bit. Telling them, but that was at the very beginning. Hey, you're going to take over, and I'm going to basically start up a conspiracy.
Right.
And Sheridan's buddy, what's his buddy that not just General Haig, but the other one.
Yeah, the one who mentor.
Was his mentor.
The other starship captain.
Yeah.
The Earth exploration ship, but that wasn't. He wasn't from. He hadn't
right. They were out in deep space. So
Well, we did have the spy, or the messenger, I guess, that came from Haig.
Yeah.
That lady. She came in, and then of course, the visits from Psychor, which is kind of the opposition. But yeah, you're right. It's
a general from Earth, the GoPros, right? But
that was really related to the Centauri.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point as well. Yeah.
Yep. Well, and then of course, the Night Watch stuff that's kind of come up near the end here, more.
Yeah, I think that's the main. It would be the Night Watch and the last episode with our Ministry of Peace, coming making a non-aggression pact with the Centauri. That's the real. That's the only thing really.
What did we find out with the Gropos? They went there.
Well, they won, but they had heavy losses.
Yeah.
And then we never heard anything else.
We haven't heard anything else back. So we're still hanging in. That's a good hanging thread.
at that point, they were positioning to address the Centauri aggression kind of thing. That it was like they were kind of looking ahead. And now at the end, we see, oh no, now they've gone the diplomatic route to, enable them.
Maybe that, like I said, maybe that was by design. Snugs has a great point. We're seeing it predominantly from the perspective of the Babylon 5 crew. And they're not, they're kind of out of touch with a lot of stuff going on Earth.
Pretty far from Earth.
Yeah, and maybe that's maybe that's intended. Maybe JMS was intended. He did write what the majority of this season.
Yes.
So, and I think that also accounts for the change in the overall improvement in this season. It's not just that it's season 2; it's that Straczynski did most of the writing. He was lead writer on most of it.
Cohesive
So,
narratives and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, we can come back to all this, and as we talk about the various characters, I'm sure we'll touch on it more. But we can move on to the Narn
Well,
Centauri.
let me just
Okay.
add. I think part of it is that I think, I'm assuming that season 3 is going to be much more Earth centric. I think he's trying to set the Straczynski's setting up the conditions with all the other races and what's going on, and then now Earth is going to come in, and because everyone watching this is from Earth, so we're kind of human centric. We're a bit narcissistic, right? So he set everybody up, and now we're going to see how Earth fits into it, and might be very interesting.
Interesting
surprise
prediction
for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So then, in my opinion, like the Centauri Narn War, if I had to say one storyline is really the major feature of season 2, that would be it. Like we said, it kind of began and ended, the actual hot war. Within the season, we saw the death of the Emperor, which is what really allowed it to kind of go forward. And then, of course, the Centauri seem to think that, oh yeah, we're just doing great, because none of them really know about the shadows, except for Londo. I mean, some might have an inkling or something, but even Rifa doesn't. Yeah, Veer, of course. But Rifa doesn't even really know, what Londo's doing or how. He's just happy that it is. But I mean, essentially, they've had victory across the board. I mean, it's basically like they just step by step accelerated into winning everything essentially, and the Narn just got pushed back. And then whenever the Narn tried to make some kind of stand, the shadows would come in and make sure they didn't.
Yeah.
So to me, this is a very, I mean, I think it's a great storyline as a backdrop for, the coming of shadows, right? That's the theme of the season. And it's via the Centauri Narn War in which the most activity is happening. Snob, let's start with since I've said my piece, let's start with you on this one. We'll go in reverse.
Yeah, just before we get into that, let me just say, Dave, I think this is a good question, less filler. I think I was thinking about this when we get to talking about our worst and best episodes of the season, favorites. Maybe we'll talk about your question there a little bit then.
I think definitely.
Yeah. So, okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think that this is obviously the main push of the season is the Narn Centauri War, and everything revolves around that, at least on Babylon 5. I would say that makes the most likely, we were talking, I was thinking about, the arc of the characters and which are the strongest arcs. And I would say it would have to be, first would be Jakar and Londo. Their arcs are, the strongest presented, the biggest changes. And then, secondly, or maybe just below that or around the same would be then Sheridan. And then sort of, everybody else. Well, actually, probably Veer and Lanier next, and then everybody else after that. So, I think that's probably where we want to. I would guess we want to focus on. They're the most interesting ones, the ones that stand out the most. We lost Cam.
We lost Cam.
All right,
I think his connection is doing some weird
there
stuff.
We go.
He's back.
You're back,
Cam. You got me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So he just popped out and popped right back in for a second. Anyway, so I think that those are that's probably the biggest arc, this Narn Centauri War, and the Londo and Jakar. Those characters have the biggest changes to their arc, the strongest arc in the season, I would think. That's my thoughts. Anybody else want to?
Yeah, I would agree. I think Jakar and Londo. I have to think about which one of those has the most.
Yeah.
In terms of the things that they're dealing with, but
They're intertwined.
Well, they are, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean toward Jakar a little bit more, having more of an arc. Londo is there. He's got the arc, but I don't see as much variation, for lack of a better word. Jakar really does have a shift in his character more than Londo does. Londo's, I think we've talked about this before. He's great. He's riding a bucking bronco and he's just hanging on for dear life. Jakar has had his entire worldview upended and shifted around. One, because he sees his shadows coming and he's trying to get everybody together, and then all of a sudden he gets blindsided by this war over the Centauri.
Yeah.
Right after shaking hands with Londo and saying, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna move forward," and everybody, and so then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under him. I think he's dealing not only with the sense of betrayal from somebody that he respected, at the very least respected Londo. They might not have been friends, but there was a mutual appreciation for each other's skills that I think now Jakar looks at Londo as like, you're a backstabber. I'll never trust you again. And I think that his arc, not only do you have that, you've got the religious component with the shadows.
Mhm.
And I think that's going to make...
It's been distracting him for sure.
Well, it's been distracting him, but I think it's also going to make him a stronger character, a more formidable character in season 3, because now, okay, let's say the war is actually over and we're back to where we were when Centauri occupied Narn before. Jakar still has he's got not only does he have the responsibility of getting people ready for the upcoming Shadow War, because he sees that coming, but now he's got to rally his people to throw off the Centauri Empire again. So I think you're going to see a little bit of maybe not distracted, but he's now becoming this. He has the opportunity to become this resistance leader that also, I think, dovetails. If he does it right, he can end up doing both at the same time. He leads the Narn resistance, and then he leads the anti-Shadow Army of Light resistance.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I had it written down as well about Jakar. That he at the beginning of the season he was completely off on chasing the whole shadow thing and trying to get everyone on board with that.
Right.
And then, like you said, he just got punched in the face by the war thing, and it's not that I think he probably still considers all that a danger and is well aware of it, but it's just he just can't address it.
Well, I think it's not only getting punched in the face by it, but the fact that Londo betrayed him. There's a personal aspect to it now.
Yeah.
And it's not just, how dare you? It's, you've actually become my mortal enemy because
just when he extended his hand to him,
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. I mean, I would kind of think that. I mean, I think those are good points. But I would kind of go with maybe that Londo has the bigger change. He goes from this sort of affable good guy, maybe not a great guy or a hero, but kind of affable good guy, and now he's down the rabbit hole into, I mean, how low is he? We're not even sure. I mean, he stood by and watched the whole planet get wiped out. So I kind of I see them very, very close, but I kind of thought, well, I may be giving it to Londo, but I mean, I got to agree with everything Jason said as well. Makes some good points as well.
I was leaning that way as well. I think seeing, in the first season, Londo was a buffoon. He was a drunkard, a buffoon. He was, carousing, and we saw all of it, gambling, this, that, and the other. He doesn't have time for that hardly anymore. He's had to become,
Well, yeah, and we saw
proper ambassador. We've seen the change, and even in his dress and his hair, that his hair is more kempt. He's wearing a formal, type of uniform with the crimson blood red, gem there, and
Wait, his hair is more kempt? Is that
yes,
what you just...
yes,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
Well, and we saw the episode where, his star was kind of rising publicly, that, it was like everybody's coming to him with a handout now. They all want favors. He had all these
yeah,
friends he didn't know he had, Um,
out of the
and
woodwork.
yeah, I mean,
Always.
we're getting into the characters here, but it's natural with, because obviously it goes with the storyline.
Right.
I agree. Well, I don't disagree with anything Jason said, but I did
Good.
as I was I gotta agree with
But you're
Snob,
wrong.
I gotta agree with Jason. I'm obligated for these things. But I didn't know.
Jason almost convinced me with his thing there. I almost was
Well,
convinced.
I will give a counterpoint then, is that as I was reviewing this, if you go back to the Techno Mage episode, which I think was the 4th or 5th episode, Londo was kind of scrambling and still kind of that clown. It's like he thought that he still needed to build influence, and he had something he was kind of going for, meaning, he was trying to get his star to rise politically. He didn't, thought he was. Remember they had the whole thing is like he tried to record him and all that stuff, and the guy slapped him down hard, of course, but and then to the end where he's like a brutal, I mean, at least publicly. And that's the thing with Londo is there's a much bigger disparity. It's like publicly, if you didn't see what was going on behind the scenes, you would see this guy that went from kind of a clown to like this, ranting, powerful dictator kind of character.
Megalomaniac almost.
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly. But we see behind the scenes that it's really the opposite. He's digging himself this hole. He's descending into darkness and where he's in deep trouble. So it's, the contrast within the character is, kind of stark.
It's significant. Yeah.
Yeah. But I will agree that it's kind of along a straight line where up and down, whereas Jakar really got bounced around and obviously his world is turned upside down. It's not even, whereas Londo seems to be stable.
Jason is jealous of the hair.
Like to me, Jakar seems a little bit kind of like the way he, I'm guessing a little bit. I don't know for certain, but Jakar is kind of back to where he was when was a leader, leading the Narn against the Centauri. I mean, he's in a little bit more important spot than that because he seems to be the highest head of the government.
The last,
but
of
it
the
seems to be
people.
kind of a circle for him, right?
Yeah.
And he's now back to where he was, some probably 20 or 30 years ago, leading the rebels against the evil empire.
But again, kind of opposite. He was at maybe his peak in power at the beginning of the season, and now he's brought low too. Whereas Londo is the opposite trajectory in terms of public power. At least.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing too, to Snob's point, he's back to being the leader of the resistance and stuff. But I also think, I think we should not discount the spiritual aspect of it, because I don't know that he had that. There's no way to know, but I don't know that he had that the first time around, and now he does, and it's. I suspect that he sees the shadow stuff being a holy war, and not just the Narns, but everybody who's not shadows needs to be in this thing, and as committed to it as he is. And now he's got to deal with this occupation thing, and it's gonna complicate stuff, but he's got to stay focused on where he's going. And so I think the resistance thing, like I said, I think the resistance thing is going to lead into, because if he can successfully lead a revolt and overthrow the Centauri Empire again, in addition to his zeal with studying, his faith, I think that will make him a stronger leader to influence the army of light, as it were, because he hasn't really been recruited to that yet, because we've got Kosh coordinating, and we see with the test that Delenn had to go through, and even Sheridan to some point. Jakar hasn't had to go through that test yet.
I don't see Jakar as being a leader of the Army of Light.
Well, maybe not.
I think he was
tangentially. He's gonna incidentally be, because he's the one.
He's not even in the loop at this point.
Well, not yet.
Right.
I mean, he's
literally been in the dark. He's been out in the wilderness.
But he's been the one that sat there at the very beginning and said, "This thing is coming. We have to all unite. This thing's coming. This thing's coming."
Yeah,
and
Jason,
I think we're going to circle. I think we're going to circle. I think we'll circle back to that. Yeah. I think he's going to become a component of the Army of Light because of what's been happening to him with the Centauri occupation.
But I don't think he's a leader.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I agree with Jason that I think that if Jakar take a position in the Army of Light conspiracy at some point in the future,
well,
that's where it seems like he would be going. He's taken the most beating from the shadows. I mean, if anybody should be front and center, it's the Narn, the Poles of World War II.
Well, okay, and he started out like that at the beginning of the season. He was the one that had the most information, right, and a connection. But because right,
from the beginning,
but he failed to convince everyone else,
right.
or was blocked from convincing them, maybe. But
yeah, I don't think they were ready to be convinced anyway.
No, but you're right. He was the one that was, or Jason's right, maybe he was the one that was closest to connecting those dots. And then because of the apparent,
he got distracted,
right, by the Centauri supposedly. But so, and that's the thing, and we're kind of talking about the shadow element of it here now.
Yeah, he hasn't connected the dots yet.
Well, no
all the way
those dots yet, right? We've got
that this whole thing is actually part of the Shadow War.
He was almost there, right, at the very beginning, and then he again got distracted, as you've all said. But overtly, nobody knows that the Shadow is behind the Centauri success. I mean, except for Londo, and so even the guys that know about the Shadows
and Veer.
Well, right. And the Army of Light, they know about the Shadows and everything, but they haven't necessarily connected it as being the driving force behind the Centauri either yet.
So remind me of a thing. There was the episode where they captured Morden and they let him go. Didn't Sheridan, was it the Rangers? For some reason, my memory is not very clear on this, but didn't Sheridan start the wheels turning in place that somebody was going to keep an eye on him? It was somebody that's going to follow him, or the Rangers were supposed to look into it or something. I want to say that Sheridan said, let's track this guy.
Well, I know that they Delenn and Kosh convinced him to let him go. And
and they let him go, and he saw the shadows that were with him, and they let him go. But I want to say that Sheridan had set something in motion, and I'm wondering if that comes back somehow and loops Jakar in at some point, because it's at some point somebody's going to find out Morden's connection to Londo.
Well, I mean, Sheridan already knows about.
Sheridan does, but Jakar doesn't. And I was saying, in a general sense.
Well, because the Centauri were the ones that demanded that he was there on business with the Centauri Republic,
right?
And he should have diplomatic immunity.
But there's no indication as to why yet.
Right, but
they haven't gone public with that.
But the fact that he was, and that they know, it's like this close,
right? But we haven't seen on screen yet Jakar getting that information.
Right, because
that's
because
gonna
then
that'll be
that'll be the
gonna-
light bulb moment for
Well, they
Jakar.
don't. They still don't trust Jakar. Jakar gave them lots of reasons not to trust him.
Yes.
And I mean, Delenn has
Well,
said.
sure.
Remember when he went to Delenn for help, and she was like, "Well, you're kind of dealing with the consequences of your own behavior,
Karma,
in a lot of ways. Even though they have helped him, and he is,
they're helping him out of a what would be humanitarian?
Yeah.
To use I don't know if there's another term that would be more
Yeah, no,
appropriate, but
it is a humanitarian effort because
yeah, it's humanitarian aid that's being provided.
I do think that
Alienitarian.
Alienated, Narnitarian,
Yeah.
Narnitarian.
that sounds like a religion.
Narnitarian.
The I think he is starting to gain their trust a little bit, though. To Jason's point, you could see the connections growing stronger. Like Sheridan, when the Narn homeworld was taken over, I mean, Sheridan was pretty strong. He's like, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you.
Yeah.
So I think there is, where they might have trusted Londo before, in dealings. Like, remember early on in the season, I think there was Delenn and Londo were having a negotiation about some trade thing. It was like, oh yeah, we're just going to do this. And it was like, oh, how nice that we could do this. And now that's gone. I mean, they wouldn't trust him to, watch their dog for an afternoon or something. It's whereas Jakar, just by his situation, I think is becoming kind of default more trusted.
Yeah, following Morden probably would have tipped the shadow off that they were aware and maybe have caused them to accelerate.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that nobody will trust Londo anymore. There's no way
Right.
Sheridan's going to trust Londo.
No.
I mean, he's now, if Jakar used to be the guy that nobody trusts, Londo's definitely below him.
He's taken that mantle
Yeah.
away from Jakar.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so on
Hey,
sorry,
to
go ahead,
that
go ahead.
point, to that point, I don't think it's a matter of trust in Londo. It's a fact that he's now essentially an enemy philosophically and politically, and they're looking at him like, why did you do this? It's not just a betrayal of trust from a friend or a colleague. Yeah, it's now you've crossed a line that we might not come back from.
Yeah, and it's shown through Garibaldi kind of clearly.
Yeah.
That's where the relationship is, where you could see that most clearly.
But Sheridan's confrontation with him at the end, he's like, Londo, what are you
Right.
doing here? What's happening here? Why is this going on?
Well,
You're losing every opportunity to fix this.
And you bring up an interesting point, because technically Londo is not the leader of his people. He's the ambassador,
No.
right? But
Yeah.
they're all looking at him like he's responsible, even though they have no indication that he is. I mean, we know that.
Well,
but-
the Centauris have made a big to do about how Londo has shaped the track of the war.
That's true.
So-
He is a kind of a very public figure of
Yeah.
that movement.
And he's kind of the face of it to the other races, because he's
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
on Babylon 5 talking to them and, giving them the gears from his government.
Yeah. Well, okay. So on the Shadow issue, we've had various reveals about the Shadow. Again, we were talking about the Morden thing and what we've seen a little bit from Kosh and Minbari. And well, I mean, we actually had some fairly big reveals there. What do you guys think about that generally? I mean, do you like the progress on that? Or anything about it? Jeff, you want to go first?
Well, I mean, I guess you could almost go back to early on in the season, when it was revealed to Sheridan what Kosh had recorded. I mean, with being on where his wife and Morden, when he starts tracking in the episode where he was tracking down, where he's trying to interrogate Morden, it became very clear. He saw the connection that he was on the ship, that his wife was on the ship, and he was able to see the shadows. They, for a brief moment, they were able to adjust the things. Now I don't
Right.
know if we'll ever see that again. That they could, they can pick up the shadows, but I suspect it'll be more difficult or something in the future. But by adjusting the spectrum or something like that of the cameras, they were able to do that. So, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think the other part of that is knowing that he survived whatever happened to his wife's ship. That's a thread that probably will be picked up at some point later as well.
Yeah. What if Morden came over?
Did happen.
Yeah, if Morden came over, did his wife too, or did anybody else from
No.
the crew? I mean,
Well, and if Morden, since Morden's got a connection with the shadows, and he survived what happened to the ship, then what interest do the shadows have with that ship?
well, it was on the planet that a group of them were on. It was on Zahadum, right?
Yeah. Well, and now the question is, was it actually really destroyed or not?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Snop? Any thoughts on the whole shadow thing?
Well, I mean, we saw I don't know if it was a dream or something about the ship sitting on the planet, which I assume is Zahadum.
Yeah, Kosh gave him that vision, basically.
But it was a recording. He recorded it somehow.
Well, I mean, sure, but I don't know if I trust the Vorlons if it's recorded, if they made it up or recreated or whatever. But anyway, we saw that. We don't know how true it is. But yeah, it would imply that perhaps Sheridan's wife is still alive. If Morden survived, I mean, maybe some of the, I mean, I'm assuming that if you go to Zahadum, you'll die, right? So obviously that's the Shadow's main planet or whatever the seat of their power. If you go there, they're either going to destroy you, capture you, or something.
What if it's metaphorical?
Escape. Well, I think you will die is metaphorical. You'll either you might be dead, you might be captured, you might be converted to their cause. I would assume
maybe
that
you'll be crushed in some
way. What do Vorlons? What's life and death to a Vorlon?
Poetry.
I'm assuming that
the Vogons.
Yeah.
I mean, if Morden made it, other people made it. So maybe Sheridan's wife is alive. Maybe she's, the suggestion was that if you don't, get in with them and do what they say, then you're going to end up, you end up dead. So if we do see her alive in the future, that's maybe she's been converted and she's a bad guy now or something.
Well, that raises
maybe she's convinced.
That raises the question of whether or not Morden volunteered or if he was recruited. And if he was recruited, what did the Shadows see in him that it didn't necessarily see in anybody else?
Yeah, is he being forced into it?
He's like talking used car salesman.
Yeah.
Dean brings up a good point here. Says they told Sheridan that those who would not agree to work with the Shadows would be killed, and Sheridan assumes his wife would not work with them, so therefore she's dead. Which is
why he keeps hitting on Dylan.
Well, okay, we'll get to that too.
Yeah.
But so
character development.
So so we do have these bits. Well, okay, what do we know about the Shadows? We know that they've been around for millions of years, untold amounts of time, since way before the last time they fought them, which was only 1,000 years ago. I think we were told that basically the some of the younger races, with the help of the Vorlon, were able to fight them. They were taught, like when Delenn was saying when they weren't ready and so on and so forth. And so they defeated them.
They pushed them back.
They pushed them back, right?
Yeah, back into retreat. Yeah,
right. And so clearly they're not defeated because they're still around.
Yeah.
But we really don't know the nature of that exactly, and we don't know what they've done since. They don't know. We just still see these snippets, and then of course, this is someone mentioned Kefir, where Kefir kind of got wind of this, and he was, well, I guess we can, he was really just a tool to kind of show a few things about the Shadows.
Was he the audience glimpse maybe into that he was just that. I know without.
What he was a disappointment as far as I'm concerned, but
to get it, and we talked about that on the last episode a little bit.
Yeah,
that-
about them inserting him into the show.
That JMS did not want that type of character in the
Right.
show. He was forced to have it, and he said, if I do this, I'm going to kill him. And well, what happened? I mean, it's spoilers, guys.
Yeah.
Kepler dies,
Yeah.
But he was valuable. He was useful in capturing, something that now has gotten out, and it's gotten out to the media.
Right.
It didn't just go to Babylon 5. Babylon 5 found out about this through the media, which probably was not Kepler's intention.
Right.
Right.
So, okay. Any other? I'm sorry. Did anybody else have any?
The notion that Kepler was a character that the studios wanted to have, I think, is an interesting point, because a lot of times you'll get notes from the studio executives. I can't think of another instance where they would insist on a particular type of character being put into the ensemble. And we talked in the past where Straczynski was like, okay, I'll do it, but I'm gonna kill him at the end of the season.
Warner Brothers loosened their grip. They were really happy with the way that the show was going.
Yeah,
they took the eye of Sauron, so to speak, off of JMS in the production of Babylon 5. They were pleased with how the show was doing and kind of took their hands off.
Yeah,
and,
but
Kepler, that enabled JMS to do what he's like. I got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah, but Kepler doesn't seem to really do much this season. I mean, he
was never utilized like he should have been. He was supposed to be the flyboy. He was supposed to be like the Starbuck or the,
Well,
there was a lot of potential. There was a lot of story potential there, and I get it. If Straczynski didn't like having the character there, he was forced to take it.
Yeah.
Sure, okay, fine. You're not going to write him. You're not going to write for him
and
a lot.
Okay,
but at the very least, if you've got him being he's basically the CAG, then he should have a little bit more prominence in the station command hierarchy.
And the question is, does somebody replace him? Does he ever put another person in that type of position?
Two things. If you're gonna, it's funny that JMS has such a problem with the notion of having a pilot as a character that has some interaction, because I don't know, you chose to put fighters in your show, which are used kind of regularly, and it's ridiculous that you have the commander of the station riding around in a fighter. It's stupid. I mean, plain and simple. So
it's risky. It's a very risky thing that you would probably never allow.
Well, I don't agree with that, Cam, 100%, because what happens is that the guys who run like a wing or a squadron or whatever, they're fighter pilots, and they're old and everything, and they always get this sort of like, I'm in my 40s. I can still do what these young punks do. I'm going to go out with them every once in a while.
Do you see the admiral of a base? Do you see the admiral of a Navy base that maybe came through and was a pilot, grabbing an F-35 and taking it out for a spin?
Well, okay, Sheridan, like in the last episode when he was like overseeing training or something, being out there for that, fine. Or it's like, again, they were former pilots, like you say, but it's like, we're going to go on a mission. The commander of the station is leading the mission. No, that's stupid. That's what a character like Kepler would be for. Yeah. And if JMS is too short-sighted and too pissy about this, then that's his fault. You know what I'm saying? I have no sympathy for him whatsoever. And it pisses me off that you have a character that you intentionally spike like this. It's just poor writing, and I have no.
I agree. I agree with you.
Did I ruin the show?
I'm a little bit more forgiving, because pilots are a little bit narcissistic, and they want to do all that stuff, and the boss is no different. But you're right. I mean, Sheridan shouldn't be. He's got more important things to do than fly around all the time.
Okay. Dean said about Top Gun Maverick, but the whole point was.
I think I was going to bring that up too.
He wasn't the admiral in charge of a base.
Right. The whole point was he refused to get out of that position.
Yes.
Like Kirk
In
didn't
fact-
want to
Well,
leave his
And
command.
Admiral's a little higher than Sheridan. Sheridan's
Well, the
and
other
that-
thing too, hang on, the other thing too with Top Gun Maverick, Maverick's assignment was training these kids to do this mission, and so part of that training is proving that it can be done.
Yeah.
So he gets in the plane and he goes and he does it as a demonstration of the operational part of the mission. That's a different thing from your base commander, which essentially you're looking at Babylon 5 is the same thing as a star base or a military base, not a Fort Bragg or whatever. The commanding officer of Fort Bragg is not going to go out on maneuvers just because.
Right. Yeah, and that was even pointed out in Top Gun Maverick, where Val Kilmer's character was trying to, hey, you should be in charge of this. You should be higher up.
Mhm.
And you're it's like
Well, they
you're
made a point of
afraid to
explaining it.
succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you didn't see Val Kilmer out there flying. You didn't see Iceman back in the air.
Okay, but the show.
Some guys
Okay,
are
so
more
it's like
egotistical than others.
it's like the theory of people in the chat are disagreeing with me, I think, a bit here. They're it's like the idea that every Marine is a rifleman kind of thing. It's like, well, every member of Earth Force is a pilot. It's like, no,
Right.
that wouldn't be how it is.
Not every member. of Earth-
Garibaldi, who is a security guy, is also a pilot. It's like, that's not particularly credible to me. Again, Sheridan and
Garibaldi-
Sinclair,
oh,
they came up through those ranks, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's like, well, Garibaldi wasn't really that. He was a Gropo.
Yeah.
But
ground crew.
suddenly he's also a pilot. It's like
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
like
Garibaldi.
Well, hang on.
I don't buy
In
Garibaldi.
Garibaldi's case, his mentor, for lack of a better word, at the was it Mars, was a freighter pilot. So it's entirely possible, and I don't think we've gotten anything on this in dialogue or anything, but it's possible that he learned how to be a pilot from that guy.
No, I'm not. It's like
The
driving a car in our world. Maybe
the old man that got killed, because Garibaldi was the target and the other guy got killed instead.
Did we see Garibaldi fly a Fury, or did he just fly the shuttle?
I think he flew a Fury at least once so far.
Yeah, and that
He did
to
fly
me,
the shuttle.
the Fury.
But I would have no
flying a
problem with the
Fury would
shuttle.
be I wouldn't have a problem with the shuttle either. Flying a Fury, that would push it a little bit.
The show also isn't particularly great with different kinds of craft. It's like they use the Star Ferries for almost everything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. I mean, that's
They
fine, but
maybe
afford it.
it's the cost of the CGI at the time. Trying
Maybe.
to create that.
but we were talking about
They did only have. Well, are we going to talk about Star Furies later, or
well,
is
you
that what
can.
you were?
I mean,
or-
I was just gonna say we were talking about Kefir, and that
yeah.
it's like it's not unreasonable in a show to have a character who is, in a show with that focuses or not focuses, but certainly includes starfighters, to have a character whose primary mission is a starfighter pilot, or maybe like Jason said, the CAG, at least in charge of both starfighters.
Yeah.
I
I mean, maybe he was trying to throw off or buck the whole, the thing that like we saw with, Battlestar Galactica back in, the late 70s, early 80s. That type of thing where, you're hotshot pilots, you Starbuck and Apollo. Maybe he was trying to buck that trend. Maybe that type of character. That's what.
Yeah, I could see
and
that
who knows?
he wouldn't want it to be like
I'm sure
the
that's
lead.
what he was pissed about. Plus, he didn't like people stepping on his toes. But
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm saying that's a little bit of ego coming.
Maybe, yeah. I'm think it's a little bit of both. I think he didn't like being told how to.
Well,
run
but the
the
point
show.
is, let me ask each one of you: Did you say, "Oh, Kefir was"? Were you pleased with how Kefir turned out? He's a character that was in the show. Did you like how that character's story went?
he was underutilized.
Oh,
for sure.
definitely, way
Okay.
underutilized.
Yeah.
Enough
he
said.
was.
Yeah. So let me just go. PB, I think you're right. They do get space combat wrong. Most of them don't have much of a military background. However, I don't agree. I think that in general, you're correct. Fighters would fight fighters, but you would also have fighters or slightly bigger bombers, which would attempt, similar to World War II, they'd be launched and they would attempt to blow up the other enemy capital ships, and your fighters would be, tasked primarily with stopping those fighter bombers or whatever they would be from getting in and blowing up your ships. But generally you're right. Yeah,
Now,
they're not,
to
tactical
that
detail.
end about the space combat, one of the things that they did do, they did consult physicists and for all of the actual, whenever you see a combat type thing happen, they did actually consult experts to make sure that was the way it was supposed to happen.
Yeah, Star Furies don't fly like airplanes.
Right. Yeah, and they did consult, people that are experts in that field, and would say, no, this is the way it should be. So if you ever see something that you think doesn't look right, you're probably wrong, because there was an expert consultant on that actual trajectory that they did something. Now, whether or not the Furies should be fighting the bigger ships, I mean, in Star Wars, you've got the X-wings going after trying to take out the stuff on the Star Destroyer. So it's not.
Well, in the world today, a fighter is a warplane is a threat to a capital ship.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so it comes to reason that the same would be the case in the future, a few hundred years in the future. So I didn't what weapons do they have on board the Star Furies that would be destructive? Because they're more like fighters. They're not really like bombers, right?
PB,
Right.
I'm sorry, I saw The Last Jedi, so
Yeah. Okay. Space horsies. That's all I'm gonna say.
all right. So
I think it matters. It's how you set up your world. You could set up, these bombers are carrying some huge missile, and then they could maybe get through. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I ranted a little bit too much about Kefir there. It's back to the main
Kefir.
Well, no, I don't really, but it's just a waste, though.
His character never went anywhere.
Right.
That's the thing. The biggest thing he did was die, and Cap.
And you could have had him with some conflict with Sheridan, because Ivanova I don't think is going to conflict with Sheridan that much.
Right.
He could have been a focal point for some conflict with Sheridan over how the use of hey, we need to go find these shadows, and there could have been a bit of more of a conflict there. Could have been done lots of stuff, but anyway.
It makes me wonder what the dynamic would have been, because I don't even know if I think they had a scene together, what the dynamic would have been between Kefir and Garibaldi's second. What was his name? Zach, Jeff Conaway's character.
Yeah, I don't think they did
Zach.
have a scene together.
Yeah.
Did Kefir and I mean when Ivanova told Kefir, I think, not to hey, no more going on your own little missions to find these guys. It wasn't Sheridan that told him that. It was passed down.
Yeah, well, Ivanova told him.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. It's it's not necessary. It's not that Sheridan couldn't talk to a squad. No, he did. He did talk to him at one point. I think he gave him a briefing at least. And in the last episode when he was out there flying with him, but
he crapped on him.
Ivanova was kind of the hammer, though. It's like, knock it off,
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's her as the XO. That would kind of be her thing, I think.
And interestingly enough, I got one little
that's a good
interesting point about the Furies. The patches that are on their uniforms, right? How there's every squad or whatever has their own kind of patch, and their flight suits. And do you know what the ones that the Starfire pilots wear? Do you know what it says?
Mm-mm.
It says ugly but well hung. Because if you notice, all the Star Furies, when they go before they launch, they're hung and then they drop them.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and they actually had patches made up. So every one of them.
Okay.
They have that patch on there.
Sorry. Side note, Jeff, you were talking about the realism of the physics and such. Well, how are they dropping then? You couldn't really drop.
I think they're more of
It's
like they're
catapult.
kind of ejected. Yeah, they're catapulted out
right.
to get them away from the station before they kick
Yeah.
their thrusters on.
And it is spinning.
Yeah, right. It is spinning. So, and
Well, are they launching from the spinning portion?
No, yeah. That's
Yeah.
No, that part is stationary.
All right. Anyway, okay. So other storylines. You want to talk about the Minbari bits a little bit? I mean, obviously we have Delenn, is tightly tied to this, with her transformation and then the problems that causes. Overall, it's kind of in the background still, but essentially it's her separating from her past and connection with the Great Council and such, and growing towards Earth, specifically through Sheridan. And of course, we saw the relationship growing there. But what's going on Mimbar, we don't get a huge amount. We know that Sinclair is there, and so there's something going on with the Rangers. But we saw that basically Delenn got kicked out of the Great Council, and she's religious caste, and Neroon, who we had seen earlier, takes over her position, which he's a military. And now that they're unbalanced on the Great Council.
I am very, very inclined to think that Neroon is enshrouded by shadow.
Well, he was literally in shadows.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. There was a lot of I got that feeling again, because he's the one who walks out of the shadow, and he's like, when he they're not coming, Delenn, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay.
I think that's a good point that Jeff made. I hadn't really thought about that, but I also was a little bit surprised there wasn't more Minbari stuff. There's a little bit front loaded with Delenn, but then after that, we've sort of forgotten about the Minbari.
It was light. It was very light on Minbari. It was almost as light as it was on the Earth, but not quite. We got a couple of things, like you said, the Grey Council, her being kicked off the Grey Council, and learning that Neroon is replacing it, which upsets the balance of the 9, right? Because now you've got 4, and then 2, and then 3. The religious caste is now the weakest caste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the Council of 9, and it's supposed to be balanced. And anytime anything is unbalanced, it's a problem.
Well, I get the impression that from the Great Council that even when they were balanced, that the religious caste seemed to have a bit more pull, because they're the ones who said something like, "Okay, we got to stop this war."
The leader,
that
the former leader, was from the religious caste, I think.
So that's why.
Well, wasn't the one who died, right? Who they were going to have the military caste when they had this big funeral and all that, and it turns out he actually was from the religious caste to begin with.
Yeah,
was that the case?
But
we haven't heard anything about it since.
I'm talking about the one that started the war. The Earth Minbari War.
When we shot first, our bad.
Right. Right. And I believe he was from the religious caste. And he was, because again, they have the 9
died in season 1, right?
Yeah.
Where they were
no. This guy died before the show started.
Oh, right.
I think it's really 9 plus the leader. It's a little unclear sometimes, but I'm trying. His name is escaping me, but him being killed is what caused all that. Which I hope I didn't just spoil something. That's when Delenn said about the war, and when they went crazy basically and almost wiped out humanity, was because of that.
So now I gotta wonder if the circumstances being what they are, with the Grey Council and all of that, how much Delenn is going to be able to influence circumstances now that she's passed her test. What does that allow her to do?
But she passed her test with the Vorlon, not necessarily.
Yeah, that has nothing to do.
Well, yeah,
with
the Great Council basically told her to pound sand. It's like, go play with your humans.
Yeah, but moving forward, though, the fact that she's passed the test that should give her a little bit more self-confidence and a feeling of security for her position on the station. And I think that might impact how she interacts with the Grey Council. I don't think we're done with Grey Council.
Oh no.
I think we'll circle back and have some kind of interaction with them, and whether or not she ends up getting back on there or not is a different thing. But I think it is going to impact how she interacts with her people moving forward.
Well,
I'm going to
yeah.
guess that part of this season that's coming up is going to be, now we've got the side set and we've got the forces of light.
Mm-hmm.
Part of this next season is going to be bringing in the various, factions into the forces of light. And it seems obvious that it'll be pretty easy to pull in some of the non-aligned worlds, that we're all oohing and ahhing over the Kosh. But
Right.
I would think that, the Minbari might be a problem. I think
I
Earth is definitely going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but, the Narn will probably be all in, except they've been destroyed. So they
have one ship left, right, that we know of.
But we'll see. I would think it'll be interesting.
I think the Minbari are going to be a problem, especially with the military caste having the upper hand at this point, and possibly being influenced by the Shadow. I think them getting rid of Delenn on the Grey Council was by design of the Shadows. I think that was one of their behind the scenes thing that they were pulling. I think they were trying to get rid of her.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah. Because she kept balance in on it, and now if you have somebody that's influenced by Shadow on there, he's going to try and influence the council and the deciding vote. And the warrior castes are still pissed off about the religious caste.
What? You mean we stopped our great war just because you thought that maybe the Earth people have our souls? Come on.
Okay,
you can just hear them,
right.
pissed about that.
Let me address something here in the chat. I believe this was revealed. We haven't seen everything in detail, but I believe that at the beginning of the season, they revealed about the war. Delenn talked about that. Okay. Dean says Dukat was warrior cast. Okay. Dukat was the leader.
Was he warrior cast? But was he part of the religious caste before becoming a warrior? Was he the reluctant warrior? Or
I'm forgetting exactly what it is. So maybe Dean will come in here later and clear all this.
Yeah.
Well, Dean will be coming in later.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. So what do you guys think about? I mean, what do you think about? Well, you guys have been saying I don't. From my eyes, I don't even have enough to really say exactly where the Minbari are going, but we can tell that there are shakeups happening with them, right?
I think there's going to be a division in the Minbari. There's going to be some that, because the Minbari did fight, right? Didn't they fight in the against the Shadow before 1,000 years ago?
Yes.
That was,
we heard that.
So what's going to happen? If the warrior caste is influenced and they have the upper hand and they're influenced by the Shadows, are you going to have a Minbari civil war?
But interestingly enough, they seem to be moving towards an isolationist kind of thing. It's like they,
So is Earth.
Right? Yes, interesting parallel, isn't it? That Delenn was the one, kind of leading this desire to involve herself with this issue with the humans and the souls and all that stuff. And Nerun, was kind of the voice of that we hear. It's like, no, screw you. You go play with your nonsense. We don't care what you do. Kind of thing.
He's kind of a racist, isn't he?
Everybody is on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, again, they openly talk about genociding each other. It's
well, I mean, at least two of them are two, if not three.
Okay, so anybody else got anything to say about the Minbari in particular?
Yeah, we're a little bit light on them, so it's hard to. Yeah. Good to see. Looks like we got 24 people in the chat. Hey, welcome everybody. If you're lurking, that's no problem. Don't be afraid to jump in the chat and put your theories on what's going on. We like a nice, lively discussion. All right, go ahead, Cam.
Okay, so it does anyone have any other major or minor storylines they want to talk about before we get into the character section a little more deeply?
Oh, I thought we were already into the characters.
Well, we did. It's just a few other ones we might want to.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to separate them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, of course. Okay, I'm hearing nothing. So, if and again, we don't have to rehash things here. If it's like no, nothing else to say, we can just move on. But I would like to start out with Sheridan because obviously this was a huge change that came, and we all know why. We need to go through that, but Sheridan was brought onto the show, and I think JMS had kind of a tall order to get him up to speed and integrated with the show, and I'm going to say that he succeeded. I think right out of the box he made efforts to kind of have this connection to Ivanova, which allowed him to show a little personality, and we learned a little bit about him, and he was likable, and then of course he has his whole storyline is going through with his connection to Kosh and his connection to Delenn. And there were some missteps, in my opinion, where, it's like the whole thing where they just kind of drop, oh, I'm really into secrets and conspiracies. It's like, well, that's convenient, but overall, they kind of just dropped that a little bit, and his thing with Morden and his sister and his wife, so he's got this background that he brings, and they really packed quite a bit into the character, in my opinion, and pulled it off. What do you guys think?
I think he did. I think he brought the star power that the show needed.
Yeah.
And that star power and his affability in general helped let the cast become more cohesive.
Yeah.
Because from the things I've heard and read, either from the commentary tracks or from things that's been written, that the problems that they had with Sinclair's with the actor that portrayed Sinclair, no fault of his own, but it became disruptive to them, and I look at the show and I'm like, oh, that's the dude from Scarecrow and Mrs. King. That's the first thing. Not the Tron thing. It didn't click with Tron, but because it was probably so close to, being after that series, I recognized him right away, and I'm like, I get it. Okay, he was very popular in a major network drama, and probably the most, I would say, most well-known actor on the show at the time. For the time.
Well,
and not only do you have Tron and Scarecrow and Mrs. King, but you also have Bring 'Em Back Alive, where he played Frank Buck.
Yeah.
Well, the one I remember we kind of made fun in the first season with the thing where Sinclair, it's like, oh, we've got a security thing. Well, Sinclair's going to go take care of it. It's like they had the main character, the Kirk syndrome a little bit there.
Yeah.
And and I remember talking about it when Sheridan showed up, like, and I think it was the first episode where they had to have some kind of security thing. He showed up there, but he had a team of security guys with him, and this is when Garibaldi was out, so he kind of stepped in to take Garibaldi's role. And
I don't know if that was the actor or if that was because JMS was more.
I think that it was JMS. It was JMS, but I think it was harder for the character to pull it off. You know what I'm saying? Some of those things, it's like, this is just an awkward situation. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think both the script writing got better in this season, but also, like you said, the characters just gelled more smoothly,
Yeah.
And obviously that he's the obvious change.
Yeah.
Jason,
one of the things that was said was that there were a lot of characters that didn't get a lot of screen time together that were fast friends. And one of the things that he had wished is that some of those characters could have had more screen time together. So I thought that was, but they they're all showing up and they're doing their different scenes, but they never seemed to come around where they were in much together. So It just didn't work out that way. But yeah, some of the characters, some of the actors became very close friends with the others.
Some of them got married, apparently.
Well, yeah, and divorced later on.
Right. Jason, what do you got to say about Sheridan?
Well, I mean, I think you're right. I think the fact that you've got Boxleitner on there, I think he does have a different dynamic than Sinclair. But I also think too that the structure of the characters, the hierarchy of the characters changed too, because Sinclair, that particular arrangement first season didn't strike me as making a lot of sense.
Yeah,
because your first officer didn't really do very much first officering.
Right.
She's up there and seeing, in the command center, and she's just kind of
There.
not really. Yeah, she's just kind of there. Ivanova's got more to do this time. I think Sheridan, as a starship captain, I think his approach, and I think that gives Straczynski an opportunity to change the approach of the command structure so that Ivanova's got more to do. Sheridan has broader responsibilities, which gives him more story potential in the overall part of of what's going on with the Shadow War and with the stuff going on with Centauri and Narn, so that he's not day-to-day operations on the station. He gets stuck doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
That's typically how it works, right? The
should be
number two takes the stuff. Yeah, I think Jason makes excellent points there. Those are all important, and also I would agree with Cam too that the character was well done and it fit very well, and like it smoothly moved into the season, and was Sheridan was well developed, felt organic and everything. They did quite a good job bringing him up to everybody else. Considering he's basically a season behind in character development,
right?
Or should be, right?
Yeah. Okay. What about Ivanova? As you know, I am not the biggest fan of her. I like her better in season 2, though. Generally, they had this weird attempt to throw something together with her and Talia, which I don't think was done well.
Yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. It was not great. But generally,
it did. It I could see where it started, and I could see where it was when before the end. What's missing is the piece in the middle,
right?
Where she's got, Ivanova's got whatever with the and I think some of it started with the girl. Remember, who had the powers that kind of started to show up.
Yeah,
you had a couple of different confrontations and stuff with Talia after that, but there was one, and I can't remember if it was the Underground Railroad episode or something, where there was a dynamic, there was a change in the dynamic between the two because of what had happened. They'd gone through something, I don't know, but there's something missing from that arc. The piece in the middle where they actually have the conversation. I'm not going to kill you. And, we're not going to stab each other in the back and stuff. That they have some kind of a shared experience that we haven't seen.
Yeah. It's very absent. Them even if all they are is friends, we never saw them develop that friendship.
Right.
They never became. It's not like it's like they went from 0 to 100, and it was in like half a second.
Well, and not just friends. I mean, there's hints there in a couple of scenes that there could be some kind of a romantic direction it's going, and I'm thinking, well, this is completely out of the blue.
Yeah, that kind of jarred me. That jarred my suspension of disbelief when I was watching the show. I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
It was like they're not even friends. I mean, they're
Yeah.
they're they're
I-
they're, they're
it's
acquaintances at best, and they tolerate each other. And now they're about ready to start making out. What?
my guess is that it was like, oh, she's leaving the show. Well, I better jam that in there. You know,
No.
it was not good. I mean, Snob, what do you think? You loved it, right?
No, I mean, I think it seemed cheap to me. Like it was like, hey, we know they like somebody read a demographic and said, hey, there's a bunch of 12-year-old boys who are watching this. Let's throw in a lesbian scene in order to maybe they'll watch it a little more or buy more merch or something. Yeah, it seemed tacked on. And
What was going on with Xena at the time? Is that
Well,
yeah,
maybe they were trying to pull. He was trying to pull.
maybe
Xena.
there was some, maybe there was
And
something
that's-
going on Xena or Buffy.
The
or
early
someone
shippers.
like that.
And that's
People were
something.
like, well, we got to mirror that.
Yeah,
But I
that's
don't
certainly
know.
something that most of the streamers
I
are
don't
doing nowadays. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Anything
it was,
else?
I mean, I think they were doing it back then, but it was just more covert and it was a little more innuendo and not so obvious as it is now.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, we're dating, like they just say it. But back then it was more like implied. So
Is this
Yeah,
the
but-
I
case
can't
for-
remember. Yeah, I can't remember what was going on with the rest of media at the time, but I would suspect there's some.
This was a little earlier than the Buffy stuff, for example.
and Xena.
Yeah.
Xena might have been around the same time.
Yeah, I'd have to. I don't remember. But anyway,
Okay.
no, I was not a fan of it.
Okay. Do we want to talk about Talia since it was kind of connected here? I mean, they seem to make an effort to have her, kind of things that involved her a few times, including the Night Watch thing, which didn't make a ton of sense to me. But then obviously
Really? Oh.
they, it came crashing to a very quick conclusion, as she was revealed to be the undercover operative.
Yeah, I was disappointed in the Talia thing. I thought they're building her up to be a more longer term character, and I was expecting to see her, come over to the good side and be an asset in fighting Psychor and that kind of stuff.
Well,
like,
they clearly
being
set
their
that up, right?
inside, yeah,
They
being
built
the
it up
inside
that way.
man or something like that. But
Yeah.
they went a different way, and I understand it's because she wanted to leave the show, I guess. But it's too bad. I would have liked to see some develop on there. Her as the sort of the double agent. Oh no, I'm loyal, but passing information on, walking that line between Bester and
especially
Sheridan.
with her enhanced powers that she got from Ironheart, right? They could have really done something with that.
Yeah, walking that line and getting some really good character development out of that, and for her having some good scenes where she has to be on one side, manage Bester and but anyway,
I mean,
not to be.
I don't know if she'll ever return. I suspect not. I mean, my understanding is she left because she wasn't getting enough screen time, and so she was written onto the show. Is my understanding.
But at least they didn't kill her with an oil slick.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. If it's because if it was her choice, then that's two instances of Straczynski failing to use his characters. It's I know he gets a ton of credit and he deserves it because he does a lot of good things, but he does some bad things too. Okay. What about Garibaldi?
Like I would have tried to say, hey, we'll write more stuff for you. Please don't leave.
Yeah.
We think you're a good character. I got plans for you. Stick around. Season 3, we'll write better stuff for you. You're gonna get try to convince her maybe, but I guess not.
Has Garibaldi had a lot of? I mean, he's been in a lot of episodes, but
he was dead at the beginning.
yeah. I mean, the first episode he was on death's doorstep. They managed to bring him back with that contraption that was introduced by
the alien healing device, right?
Yeah, the one who actually
or death device, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than like the episode with the Gropos, can you think of anything where he was?
I can think of one, and that was he had a few really good interaction with Londo, like early on before Londo had completely gone over when he's like, oh, my friend, but he paid him back and all that stuff. And then when Londo, after they destroyed the Narn homeworld, when they came in and Londo, and they had that brief scene, I thought those were gold.
Yeah.
But you're right. They're pretty few and far between for him this season.
And the Gropos, he was obviously involved in that, but that was
He
about
does
it.
Stand up. he does step to Sheridan
Yeah,
with the
that's true.
whole
Morden.
Morden thing, and say, hey,
He
you can't
does.
do
He
this,
wasn't
and so
that.
that's a very strong character. But yeah, I mean, compared to season 1, Garibaldi is much less seen, though, as some strong scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's still my favorite character of the humans.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jason, I know you like him too. What did you think about him this season?
I think we have a lot more with him. Because you get the Rangers, you've got the stuff going on with Morden, the stuff with the Night Watch, and then when we get the reveal with Sinclair, I think Garibaldi's got a little bit more stature. And you still have the dynamic between him and Sheridan where they got to learn how to trust each other.
Yeah, they do
Because
clash several times.
Yeah, so I think.
Oh yeah, he took off his badge and gun, and and
yeah, because that whole thing when he was holding Morden and interrogating Morden, Garibaldi was like, I can't be part of this. And I think that over the course of the season, he and Sheridan have reached an understanding. They're kind of on the same page of they're both of a type. And I think now that we've gotten here to the end, especially with Talia basically being the traitor type of stuff, I think that's going to throw another dimension into not just Garibaldi's relationship with Sheridan and Ivanova and whoever, but how he looks at doing his job.
Well,
And
I mean, Garibaldi had a relationship with Sinclair.
Yeah.
Kind of almost the same kind of relationship that Ivanova has with Sheridan.
Right. Yeah, they switched up.
And now we're seeing Ivanova tend to shine a little bit, and he's kind of almost been moved back a little bit into the shadows, a little more. I hate to say that. Now he's not Shadow.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? He's kind of taken he's a little. He is now where Ivanova was in the first season. I think that's kind of the feeling I get, and he's still my favorite character. I don't care.
Yeah.
But maybe
I think,
because
I think Garibaldi, though, I mean, he doesn't suffer from this season because he doesn't need as much development. He was pretty well developed at the end of season 1. He doesn't need the screen time in order to get that development out there. So you can spend your precious time on other characters like Ivanova who need it, who didn't come out so good from season 1, in my view.
Yeah. I mean, Garibaldi was strong out of the gate. So, I think he was probably the best developed character straight out of the gate. And then maybe it's because of his archetype,
Yeah, that's what we talked about first season. He's the most fully formed character because he is an archetype. He's the cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an easy character to play, easy character to write within whatever dynamic you've got in your environment, whether it's a military outpost or some colony out in space or whatever. Your cop is a type.
Yeah.
And I think the other part of that though is Jerry Doyle's performance. What he does with Garibaldi in terms of the choices that he makes in presenting that character in those scenes. I think he does a great job. And it's an easy, I don't want to say it's an easy part, but it's the most grounded, I think, of all of the types of characters that we see. Because what kind of research do you do to play a psychic? What kind of research do you do to play a Star Fury fighter pilot? Cop.
Yeah, cop. Everybody's
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch Starsky and Hutch. I got it figured out, right?
It is something that I was just thinking about that was kind of interesting. Is Garibaldi's always been that one that kind of skirts the line.
Mm-hmm.
and to see him get morally indignant about the whole Morden thing is kind of contrarian to the way he's been.
No, because he knows where the line is.
Is that, you think that's what it is?
Yeah, he knows where the line is, and so he's and this is kind of like what you see with other cop shows, right? You have the sketchy, whether it's Starsky and Hutch, Miami Vice, uh, uh, what other ones were out there? The cop that's got a little bit of an edge to him has a relationship with the darker side, with the underbelly of the city.
Yeah.
Right. He's got his informants. He's got his snitches. He's got his people. He's got some relationships with in order to provide information so he can investigate better and he kind of keep an eye on things. Where, in this particular case, Garibaldi is able to do that. Cagney and Lacey. Yeah. Thanks, Dean. That kind of relationship with those types of characters gives him that ambiguity, that little mushy gray area right there in the middle where he just skates up to the line. Whereas you have Sheridan coming up and stepping over the line rather blatantly. It's not just let's kind of fudge this for a little bit. We won't charge him yet. We'll hold him for 2 or 3 hours. The nature of what Sheridan was doing goes beyond living in that fuzzy gray area.
Yeah. I mean, technically Morden was declared dead, so nobody knows he's alive. But yeah, I guess you're right on that.
Of course,
I was kind of thinking about, of course you are. But just because to see him, because we've seen him kind of do that, like you said, with the CD. He's got connections in the CD underbelly. Hell, even in this episode, the last episode, was it where he was trying to help Jakar out, right?
Mm-hmm.
With giving him some information, and that kind of, I know some people were saying, well, that was treasonous and stuff, and I'm like, no, I don't think so, because the information came from.
Well, Garibaldi doesn't like to be on record breaking the rules. He's fine breaking the rules on the street,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess he's okay with other people breaking the rules and him kind of looking the other way, maybe.
Well, and that goes back to
his
relationship
commanding officer. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but it goes back to his relationship with Londo too, because I know you're going to be dancing around the rules too, and I'm going to look the other way to a certain extent unless I have to not look away.
Right.
Circumstance. And as far as the question on Garibaldi is Starsky. He's not Hutch. Because Hutch was the one that played it straight. Starsky was the one. He's like a little fast and loose, and Cagney was the same way. Lacey was, Mary Beth Lacey was straight arrow, by the book. Cagney was the one who fudged it a little bit because that's what her dad did. Her father was a cop, and the way they did it back then, you did what you did to get the job done.
Yeah.
And so Cagney's not.
You got to bust some heads sometimes. You got to bust some heads, right?
Yeah, that's right. She's the kind of one that's like, well, you do what you have to. She's Connery's character in The Untouchables. The one who's going to be kind of not playing by the rules when they get in the way.
All right, now, if I may,
I think
what?
Umbris is trolling us a little bit.
Okay. Yes.
Good
Okay.
troll.
Ignore the trolling. We got to schedule.
Nice troll.
It's funny. It's funny.
When is Umbris going to get on with us?
Yeah. Come on.
See, the thing about it is, though, Umbris misses one thing because he didn't mention the self-sealing stem bolts.
Deep cut. Okay. Who wants to talk about Franklin? I don't. I'll pass.
Wasn't much
Franklin
fun with
is
Franklin, other than his dad. I mean, I think.
yeah, the general. Yeah.
I mean, if I was Franklin, I'd be quitting.
I
I'd be
mean,
like, hey,
Franklin.
Well-
He's tried to give him stuff to do, but it's been
and every space show needs a doctor, right? You can't not have a doctor on it.
Well,
No.
he's consistent. He's almost always self-righteous,
Yeah.
and he likes breaking rules whenever it suits his self-righteousness.
Right.
Um,
he breaks a rule if it suits his whimsy of the day, I guess. I don't know.
But he does have a sense of right and wrong, and he does try to follow it. So I don't think he's a bad character. He's just not my favorite character.
Yeah.
He's probably my least favorite of the humans.
Mm.
But to be honest, he's okay. The Underground Railroad and yada yada yada, and it's like okay, and getting the information and passing it off to Jakar, and I get it and whatever, but it's
Yeah. Anyone else on Franklin?
No.
Okay.
he's better than the guy in the pilot. That's about the only thing I have to say.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
He's less wooden. He's less wooden, and he's always macking on the ladies.
That's
I mean,
true.
yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about Londo, Jakar, and Delenn. Does anybody got any last statements we missed or anything else that you want to say about them No. Okay. Then I guess, Snob, unless you have anything, I'd say we are ready to move on to our other guests.
Yeah, let's bring in. We'll bring in Dean first. We only got a max of 6 on the stream, so after we're gonna bring in each of our guests for a little bit and let them have their say, and then I'm gonna have to send them on their way. And I mean, I'm sure that Outpost Nerd and Michael, I think I sent you both links. You probably can't get in because Dean and Madman are in the back, but try in a little bit and we'll get you on too if you like. Go check the Discord for a link, and if you didn't get it, I'll try sending it again.
Yeah,
all
we
right.
can.
While we're bringing people in, I will take that opportunity to bow out. I'm fading fast, so
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna make it to the end of the show. You guys have fun with the rest of it, and
Make sure you check out the channel.
I'm gonna go get some sleep.
Yeah, check out Cypher.
We've got Mike Barron on tomorrow to talk about what projects he's got on Bronze Star 2 that he's funding right now. So we're going to talk comics in the second hour with Mike Barron tomorrow.
Awesome. He's a great creator, legend.
Yeah. So anyway,
okay.
All right.
Have a good night,
Jason.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Good night. All right, Dean.
Bring
we
it
don't
in,
want you to miss
Dean.
breakfast.
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about season 2 and just how great it
tell
was.
us we're all wrong, right?
Yeah.
No. The Cat Warrior Cast. I just came across a post. It seemed credible, but it's not stated which caste he belongs to. But there is an argument that he wears the robes of the religious caste. So he must have been religious.
Okay. Well, let's kind of give you a free hand here, Dean. You can just kind of go over anything that we talked about or anything we missed, and let us know what you think about the season overall.
Absolutely. Well, I think you pretty much covered what it was, a lot of what the season was about. But I think the one thing I took from this season, it was a season of transformation and transforming characters. So starting at the top, Delenn's obvious transformation from Minbari to part human.
Literal.
Yep, quite literal. But then you start to look at the other major transformations. Jakar, how he transforms from this proud, aggressive Narn to a humbled, broken figure. And you get almost the opposite with Londo, who starts off as a joke. Apparently, when they were doing the Centauri hair, there was a bit of a thing between Peter Jurassic and the hairdresser, where he was edging the hairdresser to make this most ludicrous kind of fringe that was just terrible. And it stuck during the first season and fitted the character, but then they smartened it during the second season to show Londo becoming more respectable and
Thank
more
you.
focused.
That's what I was trying to tell. I'm like, he became more, and that was JMS talked about that.
Yeah.
He did. They changed his outfit because he started off with the purple and kind of the unkempt and and then they transitioned and now he's wearing black and he's got the red gem that's in there, the blood red gem, and and his hair is better. His hair is more perfect because he's now trying to so carry on.
It's fine. So I take from this season, it's about transformations of the characters. And to a lesser effect, Ivanova, she transforms from being very much in the background to being in the foreground. She gets a promotion. We find out about her latent psionic abilities. Even Sheridan goes through a transformation from being a captain of a ship to now being a captain of a city. And that played quite a few parts. It came up in a number of the early episodes before he started to settle in. So yeah, I think it was a fantastic season. It sets up really nicely going into season 3. A lot of the questions you had in season 1, some of them are answered. A load more questions are raised, and I think that's great storytelling by Straczynski himself. So yeah, I thought it was a great season. There are a couple of episodes that I really like that I think stand out during the season. And that's The Coming of Shadows, the All Alone in the Night, because it shows a connection between Kosh and Sheridan. And I think that's an important thing. It's often missed, but it's the first time Sheridan felt Kosh. And before then, what is this connection? How is this connection? And it's very much unanswered. Why has Kosh entered Sheridan's mind? And why was this never explored with Sinclair? Possibly because Sinclair should have been the character at this point. You don't know, but it's the first time you kind of get this link between the Vorlons and someone else. And of course, In the Shadow of Zahidum, I think was a fantastic episode. But the best episode, I think, for the season was The Long Twilight Struggle, which for me was the iconic part of the season.
Excellent. I'll go to spoilers. That was also my favorite of the season.
Yeah.
And
so
I was going to say, your point on transformations is interesting. That's a good perspective on the whole thing.
And that was intentional. I mean, JMS has said that was intentional to see the transformation of the characters, Londo, and we saw the same with Jakar. I mean, Jakar has almost come full circle. As I think Snob, you pointed out earlier, he has done this whole complete character. He started off. We didn't know what his background was, and then he's peaked, and now suddenly he's back to being the broken man, probably in a worse position than he was when we first were introduced to the character in season 1. So.
I mean, I think his circle is not. I mean, it's somewhat of a
character.
Complete. I mean,
it's not complete.
It's kind of a character arc, but it's interesting. He's back as a resistance leader, and he's gone through all these things. I don't think it's a complete circle because I think he's probably I guess he's in a stronger position because has gone through this before, right? But it's hard to say. We don't.
How much?
Maybe we'll see it more in season 3 developed, but I'm not sure.
Do you think he? I mean, how strong was he? How much of a resistance leader was he in the beginning?
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't really know.
I'm assuming that part of the reason that he must have been pretty high up, or he did a good job, or something, which is how he became, higher up in this present government to be on their ruling council. Right.
Yeah. What is it?
The Kari.
Kari. Yeah. So that's my assumption. We don't know. I don't think we've been given that, at least in the stories. But
we've learned background about him. Obviously, we know what happened to his father, who was basically crucified.
Yeah.
And that is when he
beginning of his arc.
He got the fire to fight for people and fight for what's right and so on and so forth. And so
Yeah, so I think as much as season 2 has wrapped up the non-Centauri war, I think there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I can't wait to start watching season 3.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. I same thing. I ended the season eager for more.
Absolutely.
It's been hard. It's hard not to press ahead and watch the next episode especially after that. I'm like, oh man, now I need to know what's going to happen in in season 3. But I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen up through episode 22 of season 2. So it's going to be fresh. And what is it? December 7th? Is that when we launch? Of the next
I
one?
think so, yeah.
Let's see. December 3rd.
2 weeks from today.
Yeah, third.
Yeah. So next week, next show, it's kind of a call-in, so it'll be much more of a chance for everybody to jump in and more dig into these deeper if you want. We won't talk about. We'll let the viewers talk more.
Absolutely.
Less of us talking. All right. Anything else you got, Dean?
No,
pile it up behind you.
I understand that there's only so much time. I don't really want to take up more time. There's a lot of other people, other guests who want to share their views, but I think for me that was it. It was a season of transformations, and that's my big takeaway.
How's your stuff going? Good.
It's not going too badly. Just still trying to get the word out on the blue stamps we've got, the classic maps on Drive-Thru RPG. They're going well, and I think a lot of people who see them, they absolutely love how quick and easy it is to put together a map. And we're working towards our complimentary adventure for release in December.
Awesome.
So very busy at the moment, but it's all good stuff.
Great to hear that. I dropped the link to Dean's channel in the chat, so anybody and everybody, if you're not sub to him, definitely check him out.
All right, and also Dean's already put in for episodes for season 3 that he wants to come on and talk and be our guest host. So we've already got him in for that. And I'll mention while I'm mentioning that, anyone else, if you want to come in, sign up now. Let us know what episode you want to come and be a guest host on. You can. There's still lots of openings, though. The certain people tend to come in early and pick the really good ones.
Well, there's a lot of good ones.
I can't think of anybody who would do that, can I?
Yeah,
Dean, Madman.
Lots of good ones.
We'll have our
3.
favorites.
Michael.
There are a lot. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Dean.
so thanks very much.
Thanks
We'll
very
see you
much,
next week.
Enjoy breakfast.
I will do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
have a good breakfast for me.
Cheers.
Good night.
And then there was
all right. Next, we're going to pull in Nathan. How's it going?
Yes. Hi. I came.
And
I wanted
Dean,
to.
It's not. Dean, I'm sorry. Sorry, real quick. Dean, I'm gonna. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna kick you off, Dean, so I need the space. Thanks.
Right. Yep.
All right. Go ahead.
Right. Nathan, Michael, give us your highlights.
Okay. I've already given my character assessments here and there. Simply my favorite character out of season 2 is Veer, and that is because of from season 2, more than because you gotta love the villain, and Veer because spoilers. Anyways, but one thing that during these episodes that I've seen later on, and that you didn't really talk about is the ones in the last few episodes, which was the quality of Sheridan as a leader, because the thing is, as a leader, he's being poked and prodded on all. And his counterpart, Delenn, are being poked and prodded on all sides, not in the traditional method of being not in the traditional thing of the hero. The hero must rise and grow to meet the challenge. What happens is that they're, or in a sense, they're already the paragons of virtue in the series, which is, and it shows how much everyone either wants to subvert them for their own purposes, like for example, like Nerun, basically kick Delenn off. Delenn's no longer a real Membari. Another thing is that on the part of Sheridan, um, it's not a big deal yet, but there will be more coming because of the issues with Earthgub and the Night Watch and that coming up in season 3. I mean, you can't throw that out there and make a mention or two of it more, and then start and just drop it. Well, some
Night Watch is still around.
shows do.
We're not done with
And
them.
then the last thing is
Guess not.
if Kosh has already decided to let him in, this is the most thing. Then why are the Vorlons testing him from that penultimate episode? Come the Inquisitor. Why are they testing him? And they explain it during the course of the episode. But the thing is, this reveals interesting details of the Vorlon race. They're not quite, or not exactly, a hive mind. Because even maybe they all have the same, at this point, maybe they all have the same ideas and principles. But the thing is, they if they Vorlons were all in on it, why do they need to? Why did and Kosh made the decision, as a hierarchy. I'm the representative of the Vorlons. He doesn't say that, but that's what he's doing to the lesser races. Why? What does that mean? The other Vorlons don't believe it. They don't trust him. Why do that? Exactly as Jack said, or excuse me, the Inquisitor said, you have to be fighting for, you have to be the right person for the right time for the right reasons. It's not enough for them to win. It's not enough for the Vorlons to win. It has to be done under their code of ethics or morality, or whatever you want to call it.
The right way.
Correct. Which we will learn more about. This is a hinter/spoiler. We will learn more about this next season.
So, yeah. Up until this point, we up until this season, we weren't really sure if Kosh was the only Vorlon or not.
Right, and that's what I'm
now,
saying.
Now it's implied that there might be more Vorlons because the Inquisitor was on the Vorlon homeworld, and he said they pull me out when they need me
to test.
And hopefully now I can get some rest. After 400 years.
And the other thing is, of course, the final thing is, which also reveals something about setting things up for the war, which may this is kind of like I'm throwing it out there for those who probably haven't seen the show in 20 or 30 years, or never saw it,
or never.
Yeah, or ever. Yeah, exactly. And this is a question you have to think about. At the end of or near the end of season 2, when Sheridan is floating to his death, and Kosh finally is persuaded or decides to act, and everyone sees him, and everyone apparently sees him as an angel or a representative of angelic visage, except for Kosh. What
you mean?
And we
Londo.
You mean
Londo did. Yeah, Londo did. Londo's. I don't. And that brings up a good question, because we were talking about this last week on what did Londo see? Did Londo see just him falling, did they not even see that? He was looking up there and looking at what all the people were looking at, and he was confused. He was perplexed. So it's like as if he didn't see anything.
Correct. And we already know that the Vorlons, at the very least, manipulated the Minbari at least 1,000 years ago, or more than 1,000 years ago, depending on how the story works out. They gave the Minbari, or maybe just Delenn, or maybe just the religious caste, but they definitely got manipulated in some manner by the Vorlons into being shadow detectors, because because of the whole either because the thing is, the shadows don't want to be found unless they're going to do something.
Yeah.
And the thing is, at the very least, the Vorlons strut around like they don't care, to a certain extent. So, is that a manipulation on the part of the Vorlons? And what get and did the shadows? Well, they did to an extent, because we know that the technomancers were around at the beginning of the Vorlon Empire. Did they? I'm not Vorlon. Excuse me. Beginning of the Centauri Empire. So that would imply maybe that they didn't get the same manipulation. They didn't, or they got a manipulation from the shadows outright for something else.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say that the points you're making. I mean, I've always been a little bit suspicious of the Vorlons with this whole, when we show up as whatever your mythology is about what an angel is, we happen to look like that. Oh, what a surprise! It does seem a little bit suspicious, but I mean, I'm curious to see where it goes. But I mean.
Well, we all kind
there's
of
more.
expected that. Even
Yeah.
first season, we were like, I think I said I think it's the angels versus demons type of thing, that we're working ourselves towards.
And I agreed with that, but the thing is I didn't expect that they would appear differently to every different race, right? That implies that they're not just angels and they just show up. They change their how
they're not,
look.
They're not changing their appearance. I think.
Well, they are.
Well, no. I don't think they're changing their appearance. I think because of what maybe a celestial level, if you will, that they are at or near, that the let's call them lesser races their brains can't conceive of it, and so they can't conceive of this being of light
in totality.
In totality. So their brain tries to make sense. Everybody, the human mind tries to make sense. It tries to put order to stuff that they can't explain. And therefore, I think the same is true for all the other lesser races. They see them as their religious, something. It's kind of almost like created in the image of, a supreme being. So that's why they are seeing a Minbari, or they're seeing,
or even the Drakh. Even the Drakh get to see them as something else.
Yeah,
I think.
Not Drakh, excuse me.
I think that's a good. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I forgot what their name are. The green and the green and purple guys.
Purple. Drazi.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think that's a good theory, Jeff, and it's probably close to the truth, or maybe it makes sense. I don't know for sure, but I know it just twigs me as a little bit that they might be more manipulative than I first thought of.
You're very
it just throws my suspicion up a little bit. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen next as a first time viewer of this, and haven't gone any further.
Sci-fi Garibaldi.
Sci-fi Garibaldi. You got a new nickname there, Snob.
Yeah, and
I mean,
Weatherman makes a point
Garibaldi.
here. Sometimes demons come as angels of light, but in disguise. There's a great short story by Arthur C. Clarke about this sort of thing, where aliens
Childhood's
come
End.
in, look like demons, and they're not really demons. It's it's more convoluted than that, a little more, but it's an interesting story. So yeah, I'm a little bit a little wary of the whole thing.
Well,
But
I mean, Lucifer was the bearer of light,
Yep.
so there is that. I suppose you could throw that in there if if you believe in biblical doctrine. Yeah, Lucifer was the one when God said, "Let there be light."
Yeah. So
Lucifer was the one who brought it out there.
yeah, is there anything, Nathan? Anything else you wanted to add
yeah,
to
the
that, or what else? Anything else about other character arcs or any the arc and overall?
yeah. The only thing I'll agree with, and the main thing that I'll agree with Cam, is that the doctor is a waste of space. I
He's a
to
plot
be
device. He's a plot
pardon?
device. He's a plot
Yeah.
device.
I didn't put it exactly
No.
that way.
What did they call him on Doctor Who? Something and exposition.
Yeah,
It's like,
he's not a MacGuffin, but he's a plot device.
Ouch.
Yeah. But
Hope he's not
no,
watching this.
I agree. I think that, to be honest, it would have been much more interesting if they'd had the doctor's mentor from the university, if he was the doctor for the station. If you remember from season 1, Mr. Artifact Collector would have been much more fun. Would have been much more fun if he was kind of a sneaky. How can I advance humanity beyond its bounds? That would have been an more interesting subplot. But Franklin is, like I said, Franklin's still just a waste of space, as far as in comparison for the show.
Yeah. What about best episode?
Well, for me, the best episode is what do you call it? The in the company in the yeah, I think it's in Company of Shadows, the one where they do make the reveal about what's the whole point of me watching the last season and a half of this TV show. And it's like, oh my God, you're going, they're going for, in a sense, they're going for Lensman. They're going for epic battles beyond human comprehension and so on. And how are we going to survive? The only thing we keep getting a hint of is from consistently is the intro throughout each season, talking about that this was a critical point in galactic history.
And we get that in
Yeah.
the intro of every episode, pretty much.
Right.
Which does change.
Sorry,
from season.
Hold on. Was that the Coming of Shadows? Is that the one you mean?
Yeah. Not
episode
not the one with the not the one with the techno mages, and not the one with the emperor's wife and all that, doing the psychic premonitions and all that.
Yeah, that's Coming of Shadows is when the Emperor comes to Babylon 5.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, and I think it's in the Shadow of Zahadum, the one where they reveal the one where they
in
make
the Shadow of
reveal
Zahadum. That's 16. That's 16. Okay.
Yeah, that's because for me that's the most because that's the one that basically tells you this is what it's about. This is why we've been world building for the last season and a half.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, after that, there's no going back to any other thing. That's not a plot line you can just simply drop. That the giants of the galaxy, the giant most advanced races of the galaxy are going to have a war, and we're just going to be we're going to be pushing it aside in favor of only human-based stories or minor things. The gods are fighting, man. So that's it. That's my thing. The human stories are understandable, but it's the cosmic stories that are going to they're going to drive the big plot for what is the fate of humans. So I'm done.
All right.
Okay, good.
You're
all right.
Thanks for
already
putting me
signed up for a couple episodes, right?
Yes, I did, and
Nice.
and
Michael's
that's
been
why as
grabbing a
soon as
couple episodes.
yeah,
Or,
that's
Nathan.
why I asked for him. That's why I asked for his for him to put me on the list the hour that I saw it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you much, guys.
Thanks,
All right.
You have a good night.
All right.
Nathan.
Awesome. We're gonna. All right. You too.
And bye.
Interesting point that he brought up. It's because we didn't really touch too much on Veer or Lanier. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna bring in Outpost. All right, man. Can you hear us? Yo, you there? You're typing. You're not coming through, no.
Nope.
You're not muted on my end. I think you must be muted on your own.
Go. You may need to change the your microphone input in live stream. Go to
Restream. Yeah.
or in Restream.
Be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It doesn't remember settings. I always have to set it. Where did Cam go?
Cam just stepped out for a second, and you'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. Jeff, you got to save the show. Vamp.
Man, you want me to do a dance?
Do something. No, because we can't see a dance.
Yeah. Well, I could put myself on Cam. Oh, Cam's rebooting.
All right. No, that's no problem.
Well, let's see. Lanier
Outpost,
and Veer.
You got it sorted out.
What about your? Who was your favorite side character that not a regular, just kind of a?
Oh, yeah, that's hard to. I mean, bringing back what's her name from Lita from what was her name?
Lita, I can't remember the actress.
Yeah,
but
Lita.
You're right. Lita.
From the the pilot. I mean, that was kind of interesting.
That was a cool throwback.
That's a good throwback. I like when shows do that.
Yeah.
Everybody's dropping now.
Yeah.
I like when shows do that. So I was pretty Outpost. Try to jump back in. So I like when shows do that. So that was kind of that was good. Anytime Bester sticks his evil head in there, I never liked Walter Koenig that much in Star.
Really?
In Star, never.
You don't like the nuclear vessels?
Yeah, it was okay, but I didn't like that much. But I like him here as Bester. All right, I'm gonna bring Cam back in, and Outpost jump back in here, and see if you can get your mic working. Try again. Outpost.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. Cam's working. No luck.
Doing it live. Oh wait, there was some movement. I heard something.
You heard a little noise?
Well, his circle moved.
Yeah, so what I was saying about I mean, I like him as Bester though. I think he's I mean, it's been a lot, it's 20 years after he's originally see them in the original Star Trek, so he's come along as an actor, right? And I think he's doing the evil psych guy pretty well.
Yeah. I liked the Inquisitor. I thought that was I can't say he was a bad guy, but man, he sure could have been. And it makes you wonder how many other inquisitors they have out there, because Kosh said, we've sent for an inquisitor, implying that there may be more than one.
Yeah.
So curious if we'll see others to show up.
Outpost, we see you flashing a little bit sometimes, but no sound is coming through. So I'm not sure what the deal is. I'm gonna pop you out while you're sorting it out. I'm gonna bring in Madman. All right.
Madman wants to.
Restream is giving problems. Yeah, that could be it. All right, I'm gonna pop you out, see if you can get it sorted out, and I'll bring in Madman while.
Jeanette likes Londo's wife, the older one, the one that.
Londo's wife, the older one. I liked all three of them. I thought they were all. Even though I enjoyed that episode. Yeah,
because he wound up keeping her, right, and got rid of the other two, right?
Yeah, the one that was the biggest pain in the ass, the oldest one. Yeah. Okay, Madman.
Good evening.
Good
Wait,
evening.
how's
What
my
do you
audio?
got to say?
Your audio.
No problem.
I think that's wrong. No, something's wrong here.
Nope, you're good.
No, I'm not out of my mic. Hold on a second.
You're not out of your mic. Sure,
sounds like
my
my other mic. Hold on.
How many mics we got?
We can hear you. It's no problem hearing you. So
yeah, he's not hearing himself probably through his mic.
There we go. I had the settings right, and for some reason, Restream knocked it out. I think that's
Restream doesn't. That's one of my biggest complaints about Restream is it doesn't save your settings. So
no, it does for me. I've never had to change it.
It does when you do it, but it doesn't. It doesn't when you join a stream.
Mm-hmm. But I have to start off with some of the stuff he said is a little bit wrong. The Ivanova Talia situation. Just to let you know, Xena did not show up as a TV series
95
well into season 2 of Babylon 5.
Yeah.
So basically, that whole segment with Ivanova that was already in play before even Xena was on television.
Was dumb. Didn't fit.
So they were setting the thing for Xena. Then that's what you're saying.
Yeah. The whole the Star Fury things. That was better off that they got rid of Kefir, just to put to that point. It's basically too much that you're putting into that situation, and it's foreshadowing something in season 3, which we can't mention yet. But getting into what this season is, there are 3 things that you have to remember, 3 lines that you have to remember, and one of them is from season 1. And so it begins out of season 1. What do we get in season 2? What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of season 2, who are you? Some important things that are happening right now in there. You have to remember, we're transitioning from a table setting of the first season to an accelerated narrative of war, politics, political intrigue, and the introduction of an ancient enemy. That's what we have right now. You have Sinclair being reassigned as an ambassador to Minbar, and then you have being replaced by Captain Sheridan, who was a war hero, was the only ship captain to ever take out a Minbari cruiser.
Yeah, man, that's true, and he got a piece of it at the end.
Yep. And he got a piece of it in the end. And then you have the situation where Earth right now, and we talked about it throughout the whole season. Basically, there's something going on Earth. And
yeah, but we don't know. We
don't know. But the thing about it is, General Haig and Sheridan suspect that Clark had some sort of involvement in the death of his predecessor, President Santiago.
Oh, we've all like. There's no doubt. I mean, how convenient that he was sick and couldn't make the trip, and then the ship explodes.
Mm-hmm. And then of course, obviously, you have Mr. Morden who shows up, who's going around asking everybody, what do you want? What do you want? And basically, we know that he's part of the Shadow at the time, and he says, his associates, because you don't know as we have, my associates will be able to help. When he went to Malari, because Malari says, well, I want to restore the Centauri Republic into its glory, to that point, which leads to the Narn Centauri War. to the point where the Narn are bombed into the freaking into
Back to the
history.
Stone Age, yeah.
Yeah, back to the Stone Age is the exact word. That's correct. And then, of course, you have the Volon ambassador Kosh, who's taken sort of a liking to Captain Sheridan at some point, and
he never really did for Sinclair, did he? And maybe he was supposed to it in the second season had Sinclair still been around. But as we know, they put trap. JMS put trap doors.
But you have to remember that basically season 1, other than what you saw in the toward the finale and toward the original movie, Kosh never had any direct contact with anybody really.
Yeah.
In the first half, now with Sheridan, why is he so important now?
Yeah.
To the point.
I think the way I would describe it is season 1 was taking and setting up the tables. They were just putting the tables in the place, and maybe and now season 2 we're actually setting the place settings on the table for something to come, and maybe season 3 is going to be the appetizer.
Well, and also you have to put to the perspective of Garibaldi. Garibaldi shot in the back at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Basically, was sort of resurrected by the device that we saw at the end of season 1 also, which is another tap back to season 1. On there, finding out that his own number 2 guy he trusted, brought in, was the man who shot him.
And did remind me? Did he die or was he taken back?
No, what happened was he was shipped out and basically disappeared. But
and
before
all
he left,
all the documents went with him,
right?
Except for
the
backup that Garibaldi was smart enough to make.
But the thing about it is you have to remember to the point who's involved in that situation, because his own number 2 gave him a bit of a la the Prisoners TV series salute. I'll be seeing it, which only one other character in the Babylon 5 TV series has given that salute, and that happens to be Al Bester from Psychor.
Yeah.
So you have to put to the perspective: was Psychor behind the assassination?
Oh, I think Psychor thinks that they're in control, and I think really it's the Shadow that's in control. I think the Shadow's got their hands on all the planets. I think I don't know if Bester is touched by Shadow. Maybe he is. He might be the one I think that we already mentioned earlier. I posited that Nehruun, I believe it was. Is it Nehruun?
Mm-hmm.
That's the that took took Dolan's seat on the Grey Council and upsetting the balance.
That's an upset in the balance, but you have to remember is that there's a mistrust now with the Minbari. There's already a mistrust with the Minbari with Babylon 5 to begin with Captain Sheridan.
Yeah.
AKA what they call him,
because
Star Killer.
He destroyed the Black
He's called
Star
Killer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And basically they're not happy with the change that, Sinclair left and was replaced by Sheridan at that point.
Yeah.
And now you had Delenn go through this chrysalis thing, which she was told to wait, that we need more evidence to the fact that the shadows are returning.
I wonder if that was a ploy by the Shadow, because the Shadow had already infiltrated.
Well, you have to remember with the Minbari, and you already saw this with Mr. Morden.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when Mr. Morden went to, what was Delenn's reaction to Mr. Morden? Do you remember?
Good.
There was something that went on the top of her head, a triangle. And she told Mr. Morden to leave immediately.
Yep.
So you could say that the Minbari have some sort of sixth sense when it comes to the shadows. So
they are living shadow detectors. I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say Nehruun, could Nehruun is betraying everyone? Yeah, sure. that can happen. That's the part of the story. We don't know that we have to wait to see on that. And then you have now that Delenn is sort of human now, and with human characteristics, human feelings to this point. Then you see that she's starting to have those feelings for Sheridan. You've seen the looks that she's giving to Sheridan at this point. There. And then now getting into the Talia Winter situation, and you got to put this into this perspective. Ivanova happens to be someone who keeps to herself. She keeps her emotions to herself. She's on that. She's already lost a lot of her family members. She lost her father. She lost the mother. To that point, and she tries to hang on to that emotion. But you have to remember, anyone who holds on to that emotion has a breaking point, and it's eventually, it's going to start bleeding out. Now, Talia, we don't know it as of before this action, that Talia was coming to her and trying to be a friend, a friend to the situation. Now, think of the perspective now that we know that she was a sleeper agent. Was the sleeper part of Talia taking that moment? And she says, I whispered in your ears and stuff like that. Was she trying to get close to Ivanova to find out what was going on Babylon 5?
Oh, sure she was.
To that point.
Yeah.
So you have to think to that point that was going on.
Well, I don't know that that's true.
Well, no, we don't know that that's true. But
her secret half was. It could have been just her secret half said that afterwards to manipulate her afterwards.
Possibility, but the thing about it is this second self, whatever this is, whatever was pre-programmed, we don't know the extent of its powers.
Well, so and the thing is how come she wasn't able to resist this programming when
and remember what. Yeah, and remember what Lita, I always get her name wrong. Remember what she said. She didn't say that this programming was sitting there secretly controlling you. She says that all of a sudden, when the switch is turned,
flipped,
then you become that personality, and not that
personality. They programmed.
She did say that.
Not that personality is hiding behind something, secretly controlling you, and there. I mean,
that's
what Talia said afterwards, but that could just be because the personality is, that evil that it'll lie and say, "Hey,
it was pointed out. It was pointed
out to make Ivanova more angry."
Self-preservation. That it.
No. Remember, there was something said a while back. When Garibaldi was watching a news report about someone that was found guilty, I guess, of murder or something to that nature, and what was the sentence? It was death of personality.
Yeah.
So basically, and it's explained what is the death of personality. In other words, they remove whatever personality you have, and they inject a new personality, and then they make you go out and help people.
But apparently they can.
That's something that we already knew.
They can plant one that's going to.
They can change. Yeah, exactly. They can change it. This is not something that basically it's a secret agenda to the point that they do this to people. It's already been done as far as a form of justice. Now they're taking that and manipulating it and using it to have spies.
That's different, but
to that point,
yeah, it's based on that. It makes sense within the universe. I would agree.
I mean, it's always possible.
I mean,
Morden
like I said,
Morden was programmed like that too.
Well, we don't know at this point. We don't know Morden has chosen to work with the shadows, and why he's the only right now at the moment. Why he's the only survivor at this point.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if everybody's dead. We
don't know everybody.
Morden is just the only
we don't
one
know everybody's. Everyone could be alive. Everyone could be. We don't know. All we know is from what Delenn says: if you refuse the shadows will kill you if you do not basically join with them. That's what we know to that point. And we get into the to this level where we're after the Inquisitor situation, the trials and tribulations to that point, that basically and we know that the test was for both Delenn and Sheridan.
Mm-hmm.
and then it's people like a lot of people.
I think a lot of people
I've seen
missed
this
that. A
before
lot of
online.
people thought,
They,
it was just
they
it was
thought that's on
Delin.
there.
No. It was not just to test
No.
Delin. Yes, it was partially to test Delin, but in reality, I think it was more to test Sheridan
as well. Yes,
maybe
because
even more
Sebastian,
so
you have
Sheridan.
to remember what Sebastian had said. He says, "Will the universe come down to you and rescue you to your point? Can you call out to it and it will come to save you at that point?" And then later on, he says, it has
I've been
arrived.
expecting you. Yeah.
We've been expecting your arrival to that point, and
Yeah.
this is on to that situation on there. Now, let me hang on. I got notes on this, and
Of course.
hold on.
I'm barely
I have
looking
big
at
notes on this one.
Let me answer PB's question real quick here. My understanding of this is that we don't know that she volunteered for it. But she was programmed somehow. I mean, it could have been, Psychor is not exactly good guys. She could have come back to, get some training, and they could have just, jumped her, drugged her, erased her memory of what happened to her, and then put this person in her. I don't know that we know that she volunteered or not. It's unclear to me from that, but other people might have come up with something else. But anyway.
Yeah, and so now we end the season with basically the Centauri expanding their borders. Just they're walking into Poland. They're going into the Drazi and the Pakmara territories.
And our
Earth decides
Neville
to get
Chamberlain
involved.
guy.
Yeah, Earth decides to send a peace minister, the Ministry of Peace, and the Night Watch comes along for the ride. At the point that that there's a non-cruiser sitting on the other side of Epsilon 3, the only surviving non-cruiser. But meanwhile, it turns into a massive firefight, which does damage, of course, to Babylon 5, the destruction of a Centauri, and then, of course, the death of Kefir after escorting the non-cruiser out of the territory, with the being melted by the shadows. Toward the end.
What did you think about the whole closing of the last episode, where it's kind of a narration, where Ivanova is kind of narrating the events that happen after? Do you think why do you think he went that route?
What, Kefir?
No.
That's well. Basically, you have to remember these episodes. I mean, these seasons last a year.
Yeah.
So
well,
you want to recap the year in itself.
One season is 1 year. For those that don't know, and this was in the commentary track. The JMS did say each season is literally 1 year. The beginning of the year is the first episode, and the end of the year is the last episode.
Yeah, and the thing is that most TV shows, even science fiction shows, when they do recaps, they just recap the one episode entirely, just talking about what happened in the entire year. I mean, what JMS did here was he just put just someone to talk at the end of the season to explain what is going on. You see Ivanova celebrating Hanukkah, and it's Christmas, Christmas back on Earth, and she's playing, that the situation of Babylon 5, the what they call it, its job, what it's supposed to do, has failed.
Yeah.
To this point, because basically, we're headed to something darker, deeper into the situation. We got the shadows on one end that is going on there. We got all the League of Non-Aligned Worlds are shattered. Earth is somewhat of isolating itself from
and possibly
the rest
civil
of the universe.
war between the colony, the Martian and Io and the other colonies, the Earth, Earthdom colonies are kind of rebelling a little bit, and then you've got the Minbari split, between the castes. Right now it's the balance has shifted from from being balanced to unbalanced now.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the the little things in between. You got Veer, you got Lanier, and they're important parts to this to this season and what is to come with these characters. What are what are they going to be, because they're very important to the point. Whereas Kefir to the situation was just another part. And when we talk about the whole having a Star Fury pilot, I didn't hear if you mentioned it before. JMS doesn't like the pilot type situation. He
Yeah,
doesn't like the-
I
yeah,
brought that up.
yeah.
He didn't like he did
Doesn't
not
like
like
that
that
situation,
archetype. He doesn't like that
right?
archetype. He was forced into it because at the point at the beginning of season 2, Warner Brothers still had their hands
Right.
in the pot, so to speak, on the pot or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until probably, I think he said about mid-season, that they finally said, okay, they're doing good. We'll take our hands off. And as I think I used the term Eye of Sauron. The Eye of Sauron from Warner Brothers is now gone off to some other direction.
Yeah,
And
we already talked about all this stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
so.
But the thing is with the Star Fury situation, it's too much to add to the series. If you kept it to the point where you have the main crew, and I know you guys were saying, well, why is Garibaldi, fitted for a Star Fury and stuff like that. But that's from the War of the Battle of the Lines, that basically most of these guys had to fight in that period, no matter what they had to do, because basically they were in a war they were not winning to that point. So and then you also hear the other characters, Psychor, Bester, he's outfitted to do a Star Fury. So you could say that the military does train their men to be their soldiers to be able to fight in starships.
Yeah,
as well.
I would still say that is maybe an unrealistic. That's kind of a bending
But that's
of the
why it's called
reality
science.
of
It's
something.
it's why it's called science fiction.
No. You know what I'm going.
I know where you're
That's
going. I
bending
know where
the
you're going.
that
But
that does bend the suspension of disbelief.
But
Well,
like I said,
for someone who doesn't like starship or fighters, then he's putting everyone in a fighter. Then that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah.
wants his lead characters to all be flying the
well, no,
Expendables.
you get because we can't talk about it. It's foreshadowing the situation. Yes, we do have the Star Furies next season, but there is something else that's coming forward as well. So that's
I don't know anything about Star Furies next season.
no, there are Star Furies next season.
I know what he's talking about. It's something else.
It's something else. Cam knows what I'm talking about, and it basically,
Okay.
Cam, that becomes an important part for season
Yeah.
3 and
No
4.
spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
All
But
right,
yeah.
hold on. I'm gonna try to bring Outpost in as well and see if we can get his see if he's got his stuff working here. We can get his take as well. All right, Madman, I'm gonna keep you in though. I'm not gonna get rid of you. All right, Outpost. You want to try one more time?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, hey, what's going on?
Restream was lacking like a bitch.
All right, good to go.
So
Yeah, I think PB's got a point here. I think Weatherman's got a good point too. Too many characters dilute the story. Don't take it so far.
Well,
I
that's an
think-
ensemble cast. So.
yeah, I think with Kefir being,
Yeah,
Big
Outpost, you want to
dog,
give us your
I think-
takes?
I think they're slowly going to start focusing on kind of the main cast again that we had. With the ambassadors as their group, and then the command staff, and that doesn't. It's not going to mean we're not going to get introductions to new characters, but one of my favorite parts of this episode, probably even in the series, is the interaction between Veer and Lanier at the beginning. They sit together, kind of have a drink ish, and they're just like, they realize, hey, we're the ones doing all the work. Delenn and Londo, they're getting all the credit. So they're you see that cross-culture support that Babylon 5's kind of about a little bit between them, and a little microcosm between them.
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, I just little. We're just gonna let Outpost give his takes, and then we'll ask everybody who's left
But
Am
I coming?
worst
Am I
episode,
coming
that
through?
sort of thing.
Yes, you're coming through.
Yeah, you're
great.
coming through.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead. So yeah, so you think you really think that? I mean, I think that the aides to the ambassadors are not. I don't think they're doing more work. I mean, they're doing a lot of background work and stuff, and they're important, but I don't know.
No. I think Londo's more in it for the kind of station, the perks from it, more than the actual work. I think.
Well,
I think-
I would
I think
agree.
Veer
I
is
mean,
doing a lot of
he's
the
already
work.
lazy at the beginning, right? Like he's
Yeah.
already a bit of a, drunk
He's a
gambler,
slacker. Yeah.
slacker. And in the first season, we see him, shoving Veer. Veer comes to him, hey, these people want to talk. He's like, yeah, whatever, get rid of them.
Yeah.
And that's before he's important. He's
Yeah.
even sort of throwing them off because he doesn't want to do anything. So he is somewhat lazy for sure.
Did we lose you?
Go ahead. Yeah, I just made a comment. I'm still here. You
No.
look like Outpost. You look like you muted yourself.
It muted on me for some reason.
Well, we did not mute you.
Oh my god!
I didn't do it. So go ahead.
It's muting on me. It muted on me like on and off for like a second. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yes.
But I think too we're seeing Clark's kind of plan starting to with the Ministry of Peace and Night Watch. I mean, we've gotten Night Watch a little bit this season, and with the Ministry of Peace, come on, does that not sound like kind of dictatorial, that kind of thing?
Well,
Yeah.
Well, if you look, he's kind of Clark's character arc is not too dissimilar from how the bad guy of WW2 rose to power.
Yeah, that's the whole point of his story.
He took out other people to rise in power.
That's the
kind
whole point of Clark.
Yeah.
Clark,
Yeah,
we've only seen maybe once.
Right.
In I'd say the first episode, I think, of season 2, we've only seen him once. So he's kind of this big bad boogeyman almost.
Yeah, he's a nebulous figure at this point still.
And so like he can be as big, as bad as our minds can make him out to be. And we're seeing more control through political like chess than actual like war. And with Night Watch and the actor who played the what's his name, head of the Ministry of Peace, can't remember his. We've seen him. He's played bad guys before in so many other like TV movies and TV shows throughout his life, and great actor.
Yeah.
He was on Space 1999 as the commissioner, the one that had a horrible.
Yeah,
head.
that's and that I saw him in a bunch of like Christmas movies and stuff too. I remember as a kid.
Yeah, the Ministry of Peace, the Neville Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Of the season, if you will.
Commissioner Simmons. I couldn't even think of the name. Commissioner Simmons from 1999.
And JMS actually, made comments about him being an actor, and I think I brought this up before, but he had said that the whole kissing of the pen was the actor's idea, not his. It wasn't in the script, and he did a lot of things like that. And he made an off the cuff comment about well, maybe one of these days the CGI will be good enough we can replace the actors. No, I don't mean that. Yes, I do. No, I don't.
We're
yes,
here. We're there.
So, yeah. Hopefully they don't, because
they're already doing it. They are already doing it.
I do not want a bunch of CGI.
In that John Wick movie, Ballerina, the front desk clerk, Lance Riddick, what's his name? He was actually CGI'd into that movie. He had passed away by the time Ballerina was being done.
They pulled a Tarkin on
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that they had they did like an Egon from Afterlife kind of thing,
Yeah.
and people were
Yeah.
not happy about it. That was a big thing with the writers' strike a year or two ago. The studios wanted, when you became an extra, they wanted in your contract that they could own your likeness and they could use it for perpetuity.
Yeah.
And actors and the Screen Actors Guild said no, and supposedly they've backed off, but no. But
All right, we're getting a little away from Babylon 5.
with the thing about the Starfarer year we were talking about earlier, I think it's not that too far fetched that nearly everyone in the military is Starfury certified. I don't think it is. You got to realize like Madman said, the Battle of the Line was devastating. It was through sheer luck that humanity survived that battle. Do you realize the Battle of the Line was at the moon? That's how close the Minbari came to killing everyone.
Yeah. I still don't. I don't buy it. That's a bridge too far for me.
Well,
That
Well,
would have been
Wow!
like.
Blair
That
was
would
in
have
a
been
Star
like.
let me-
Fury.
You're on the verge of extinction.
Yeah, but
If you're looking down the barrel of a gun like humanity was against the Minbari,
Well,
you would do
now
anything.
two things about that is that, first of all, I mean, I think Jeff's problem with it is the amount of time that it might take to train somebody, not that
Yeah.
everyone would be trained. And that's the reason, the present reason why no one, while everyone doesn't know how everyone in the military doesn't know how to fly a fighter jet aircraft, is because it takes years and years to train these people to do that. And it's a very specialized skill, and that equipment is worth, $100 million. You don't want just anybody flying it who doesn't know
It's
what
like
they're
in
doing.
Independence Day
right?
when the ship's coming towards Area 51, they're just like, "Hey, does anyone have any flight experience?" And then they kind
Yeah,
of do a crash
but
course.
but they don't put
They have
they don't
flight
put
experience.
people who's
Yeah.
yeah. And now on the other side of the coin, though, is that it's 250 years from now, and generally speaking, technology becomes easier and easier to
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
use.
sense.
Right? We are in a situation now where pretty much anybody can drive a car. I mean, cars haven't changed that much, but
Have you
at
seen
some
people on
point,
the road?
I would but at some point I would expect that, flying a fighter is going to become easier. And this is one of the, we have flying cars right now, but part of the problem is that, they're not, the people who, if you're going to fly, you need specialized training.
Well,
And
it's like, and also too,
they'll
you're
want
talking
it to be they'll want it to be
talking about
easy to do before we have flying cars, right?
with
So
You have to
there's a
remember
little
one
bit
thing.
of, we can
in Star
extrapolate that.
Wars, and I hate to
Yeah.
go off on another. In Star Wars, the reason why Luke was able to just jump into an X-wing is because the company that made the X-wings, the Incom, what they would do for all their ships, they would make them very similar. The controls were all similar across the board. So I'm thinking maybe in Babylon 5, if you know how to fly a shuttle, the controls aren't that different from a Star Fury.
I think that's a good point too, and I think it's unlikely from where we sit here, because we're looking at you're got to be specialized to fly a fighter, but in the
Well,
future it could be possible that it is as maybe a slightly more complicated than driving a car. So
I will take it to the point to another series, Space and Above and Beyond, as the Marine Corps were trained not only as ground pounders, they were also trained on as fighter pilots. If you haven't seen that series,
yeah, that bugged me when I first saw it, but
It still bugs me. I'm not gonna.
I'm sure the real reason is that the writers don't
It's
have
just
they
throw.
need to,
It's to throw
it's
the
a writing
actors
thing.
in the spot.
yeah, but you
But
can also
it
say
could
that
be
you fly
true.
the shuttlecrafts too. You have to remember
It could be there could be an in-universe reason.
But getting back to this episode, I think we're seeing the cracks starting to form in these alliances that we've seen grow over the past 2 seasons. We're seeing it, we've seen it completely disintegrate when it comes to the Centauri and the Narn.
Right.
and because basically the Narn committed the Centauri committed a war crime against the Narn.
Yes, yes, they did.
And I remember that shot of Londo on the ship is one of my favorite shots, and he's like, "What the hell have I done?" And he's just watching the planet just get bombarded. But you also see the cracks among the humans. You know, we're starting to see those factions kind of form, and that are going to play a big in the next 2 seasons. It's going to play a big role. And one of y'all mentioned, and it was mentioned earlier about the out when the Vorlon come out of their encounter suit, they're shown as different angelic beings.
Hmm.
Well, I don't. I'm not sure if we're at this point yet, so I don't want to.
No, you don't want to go there.
Don't spoil anything.
Don't
And
go
that's what I'm
there.
trying to figure out. I'm
Okay.
trying to figure out where we're at.
Well,
You're
I
not there
mean,
yet. I
into
know
season
exactly where you're gonna
I
go.
mean,
Don't go
we've
there.
seen Kosh. We've seen Kosh. That's it.
When in doubt,
We don't
don't
even know if
mention
there
it.
are other Vorlons at this point. We
If in
suspect
doubt,
there
don't
might
mention
be, but we don't know if there are. So, if that tells you anything.
Let's try to finish up. Why don't we go around and let's discuss best worst episode, and then end off the show. And we'll have time next week. Anybody wants to jump on, we can get into
yeah.
a lot more detail and all these things. But we're pushing the 3-hour mark, and I want to finish off. So
We want to wrap it up. Yeah.
anybody want to go? Outpost, do you want to go first? Best worst
Yeah.
episode. Or
I don't have like a single favorite episode. I love the episodes where you learn about the culture, like of the world that you're in. It's not just like ooh, pew pew, lasers, fighters. I like learning about the culture. So I like there's an episode where they do all the religious, like the prominent religions of the Earth in season 1, and how Sinclair like has every like he's got a priest, a pastor, a cleric, all these. And so I like those kind of episodes. I still like TKO. It's still one of my favorites.
Really.
Anything with Franklin, I'm not a fan of. So I think that's a consensus with us as a group that Franklin is kind of like, dude, shut the fuck up and do what you're told.
Yeah.
Okay. Madman.
Well, the thing is, with bad episodes, there's some things
least
that
favorite doesn't have to be bad.
least favorite. I don't really have a least favorite. I
Well, that's
enjoyed
fine.
the entire season 2. I mean, there's some high points, low points to the point on this. Favorites, Coming of Shadows, where was the other one? In the Shadow of Zahadum, and also the Long Twilight Struggle are the ones that stand out the most to me on season 2 on there. But I've always said, even on the episodes that are not as good, they are still important to the series itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically, when you look into the perspective that it unlocks certain parts of the puzzle or adds more questions to that puzzle, that's where we have to pay attention to. Something that's less trivial in a particular episode becomes major later on down the line.
All right. Jeff.
Least favorite episode. Well,
you don't have to.
Probably my least favorite was what is it? They're all the honor lies. I don't know. Is that the one? I'm trying to look at it. That's the one where they opened the gift shop, and it was kind of. Yeah, I mean, really, the only
Sheridan kills the Mumbari in self-defense. They set him up.
Yeah, it was kind of
in the gift shop.
it was meh. I think that was probably one of the lowest ratings I got. I mean, it was kind of cool with seeing Sheridan and Kosh get close, and but it was like, why are they seeing colored lights and listening to music? It's kind of like, okay, whatever. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, and it was just kind of, as far as the best episode, I mean, the Fall of Night was great. I think that's the highest rated episode that I give. I loved the Inquisitor. Um, I know not everybody did, and of course, Long Twilight Struggle was great too. Um, I mean, I think Fall of Night really, though, that was the one that it left us wanting more. Um, Soulmates was good, but it had some silliness in it that was pointless. It really didn't fit. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. Overall the season, I think season 2 was definitely way better than season 1 on an overall basis. I think I'd probably rate the season as an 8, maybe a little higher, but I think I'll probably hang at 8 for the whole season.
All right, Cam.
As I mentioned when Dean said it, I think Long Twilight Struggle is probably my favorite. But like Jeff was saying, Fall of Night and Coming Shadows. There's a lot of good episodes in this,
Yeah.
and I think there's probably 3 or 4 that I didn't like. The Long Dark I didn't like particularly. What is it? It's the one where Confessions and Lamentations, where the Markab got basically wiped out. Didn't really like that one too much. And Come the Inquisitor, I was half and half on that one. Some of it I really didn't like, some of it I did. But overall,
Did you not like it? You didn't like the Inquisitor as much as I did you?
No, I didn't like the Inquisitor at all, to be honest with you. But
I found
I understand.
I found it interesting who the Inquisitor was. They don't outright tell you, but you kind of realize who through context clues who he actually was.
I figured it out in 5 minutes. I'm like, that's Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, I love that historical kind of.
And at the end,
Throwing.
they do say remembered only as Jack, so
Yeah.
they solidified it for me. But
Oh yeah,
Are you sure? Maybe it was Jack Sprat.
yeah,
Jack Sparrow maybe.
Yeah.
Jack
Are
Horner.
you sure, Jeff?
Jack Sparrow.
In terms of the season rating, Jeff said 8. It's one of my favorite seasons, so I think I like season 3 better. But so I'd say this is probably a 9 though overall. It's
Really?
way better than season 1. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just it's getting wet.
I have nothing to
when
compare it
season 2.
beyond season 1 and 2, and
sure.
I think what did I probably would have given season 1 maybe a 7. This is definitely at least an 8. I could kick it up, but I can't. I don't have. Like I said, I thought the last episode was a what did I say, 9.5, I think. So it wasn't a perfect 10, but it was really close, and the episodes that you mentioned were right up there too. They were 8.5, 9, right in that range. So
All right. For me, I had Cam stole mine. I had The Long Dark as the least enjoyable episode. I mean, you've got some woman who's 100 years old coming in, her husband's dead, and Franklin is like macking on her right off the bat. And this sort of the creature thing. I mean, it was a kind of, I was like, it seemed so un-Babylon 5. Now, perhaps if the creature, comes in later and we see something about it, then I'll change my mind a little bit.
Don't remember the ending?
Yeah, the creature.
The creature was in the book of Jaquan.
Oh, was it?
Shadows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's basically that it was heading for Zahadum.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's still, I mean, it seemed sort of like a creature episode. Okay, so it does fit in somewhat. So that's a bit better. But I still didn't, I just, it didn't sit with me a little bit. For my best episodes, I had sort of 3, The Coming of Shadows, The Long Twilight Struggle, and The Fall of Night. And I kind of leaned with The Long Twilight Struggle as the best one for me. But there's a lot of good episodes. It was a very good season. Not a lot to complain about. Way better than season 1. I mean, we were fighting over what was the worst here, but I could just pick out, I could maybe pick out 3 episodes that weren't that great, but even then they were still, way above, better than the average of season 1. So yeah, definitely a good season overall.
I think you and Cam both, you pointed out a good episode. I'm like, yeah, that one was really rough too, compared to the rest of the season. And I'm curious as to if the ones that we're seeing were the few. There was I think 3 episodes that were done in this season that JMS was not the head of. I am curious though, like since Madman, you pointed it out, was that creature shadow related or was it light related?
Yeah, it was on one of the
Yeah, he
pages.
said he was trying to get back.
Well, it said it was trying to get back.
The direction the ship was in they mentioned in the background
Was
the direction it was headed for. That was headed
Yeah.
for. So basically, it would be the coordinates of Zahadum.
Yeah, but maybe it didn't say that it was evil.
No.
it
It was
looked
in
like-
the book of Jaquan on the
Yeah,
on the
I-
page
I-
opposite of the shadows.
I mean, sucking life out of people and stuff. I mean, that's not a good guy thing. Now, I mean, you guys, we keep mentioning, oh yeah, who wrote this and who wrote that. Now, I mean, my understanding about most of these shows, they're written very, collaboratively. Usually, now maybe Straczynski took a lead, but I mean, we keep saying, oh, these ones were written by this guy, but aren't
It's a
they?
writer's
like
room.
I said,
There is a
they're
writer's
usually
room.
a writing room. So
there is a writing room, but there's also a head writer for the episode.
Well, of course.
And the head writer dictates the trajectory that a particular episode is going to take.
Well, I mean, sure, but again,
I mean, JMS says I wrote all the rest of the episodes this season at one point.
If Straczynski is the boss and he's letting DC Fontana write an episode, and he doesn't like what she's writing, he's going to say no, take that out. Like he's the big chief.
Yeah,
so
he's the showrunner.
Yeah,
now,
exactly. So it's kind of I question whether we say this
is
was
an
written
ego
by,
thing, maybe
this has got this guy's name on it, and that's why it sucked. I'm like, well,
because he says he wrote.
Showrunner.
I believe, and I don't want to misquote him, but I believe he said he wrote all the episodes, but one of season 4, and all the episodes of season 5.
But you have to remember at this point, we talk about trapdoors with the series on there. With season 2, he needed the writing room at 100% because he needed to retweak the entire series at this point.
Right.
Season 3, season 4, and parts of season 5 were already well written into that point. They were able to adjust those easily because they had enough time to do it. Season 2 had to be pushed, at this level. They were ready at that point.
We just swapped out Sinclair with Sheridan, and
right.
Yeah, major character change. Yeah.
Not just a major character change. With Sinclair leaving, he had to change the entire story.
Right. Well,
it was a huge thing.
It's like, okay, well, would Sheridan fit in this particular type of thing, or I get it. Yeah, no,
Knives. I'm looking at season 2. Knives. Episode 17 was not written by JMS. Let me see what other ones.
Yeah, I've got them all here. I can.
Yes.
I can list them off. But I'm a little bit. I know we talk about that. Some people mention it. But I'm a little questioning because my understanding, we sort of
you think he's taking
I don't
too
blame
much
the
credit.
guys.
You think JMS is taking more credit than he should?
Maybe, but he's also taking less credit. If someone's saying, "Well, this sucked because DC Fontana wrote it," he's still the showrunner, and he's the guy. He can come in and say, "Hey, that's no good. Get it out of there."
Okay, but directing someone to do something is different from the words on the page, and I think it's kind of obvious on some of these episodes. It's like, you could tell the difference in the final product.
No, I agree, and a lot of it comes down to style too, like the way people write. You'll have a
Especially
different
the first season.
But also, you have to
First season
remember
of
that
DC
Blade
Fontana has written tons of Star Trek, right? So she's coming on. She's got a certain way of doing it, and it's gonna tend towards that, which might be
You got to
different
realize
than
Star
he would
Trek
do.
and B5, they were so intertwined at this time. Actors, writers, casting crew. So
Yeah.
you have to also remember that JMS had this originally as a playbook, a major playbook, which he was taking a bit from the British science fiction series, where basically those shows have their stuff written. If there are 2 seasons, they already had the 2 seasons written. 5 seasons, they already had the 5 seasons written. You didn't see that too much, like in Star Trek, Space 1999, or any of the other
good
sci-fi
point.
U.S. science fiction TV series.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a good
you
point.
had it from the Brits, but you didn't have it from the Americans as far as science fiction, where everything was written. Everything was written on as they went along. And JMS has already everything planned out.
He's
and
already
came
written
back
the
to it.
arcs. Yeah. So all he had to do was adjust the scripts
Mhm.
to fit the arc that he
Yeah,
was trying to say.
and switch things around. For example, right now, because we're out of season 2, the Non-Centauri War was not supposed to be in season 2. It was supposed to be closer to end of season 3 into season 4.
Yeah. Another
Oh,
thing that
Umbris agrees with me.
well,
Long Dark.
another
Franklin
another
Max on a
thing
Survivor.
another thing that Straczynski did say is episodes like the last episode, he wrote it in a day. That's what he said. He said I wrote it in a day. So the episodes at the beginning of the season took him 3, 4, 5 days. Episodes these final episodes, he was writing it in 1 to 2 days, and that's I mean you can say the writers, but
Season 5. The problem with season 5 is TNT, the network. That's the whole situation, which
I don't know
affected
anything about
Babylon 5,
Okay.
and it affected the next series after that.
All right. Let's hitting the 3-hour mark. Time to
wrap it
Cam,
up.
Is there any? So next week we can talk about any of these. There'll be a lot more questions to go through, but we can only have so much time. Next week we can go crazy and talk about whatever we want. Cam, is there anything we missed? Best speech. That's a good point.
I realize we kind of skipped Veer and Lanier, but I think Madman and maybe one of you other guys did mention it. So yeah, they certainly had some good development this season. Okay, good.
Focus it next week if we want. All right. Yep. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, let's we'll sum up then. Does anybody have? Sorry, I'll go with Madman. What's you going to? We'll go. Madman Outpost.
Well, we're on holiday schedule on CutiCast TV, so basically there's no Otaku Thursday for the next 2 weeks because we're going into the holiday schedule. But there will be a Madman Cafe Live Monday. We'll be talking about Stargate, obviously the new Stargate series, and a couple other things that'll be coming out there. And hopefully, you gentlemen here will be able to come on. Onto that point. Of course, we'll have a couple of shorts going on through the week. Man with a Show will return right after the holidays, so will Taco Thursday.
All right. Outpost, you got anything for us?
Coming up, I'll be talking like Madman. I'll be talking about the new Stargate show coming out. I have a couple of movie reviews that I'll be coming out with. I just did yesterday a Fallout Season 2 trailer review, so check that out on my channel.
Drop your link in the private chat, and I'll put it in this channel.
Hold on. And I have a couple of Lego streams that I'll be doing. I got a Lego U-Wing from Star Wars, and I have the Batman the Animated Series Lego Batmobile that I will be doing a couple of shows about. Legos just building relaxes me and stuff, and I will be just.
Hopefully they didn't charge you too much for that Batmobile.
I was gonna say, dare I ask how much it was?
Like $45.
That's
Not bad.
reasonable.
That's reasonable.
Because you saw what the Enterprise was, right?
Like what? A couple, like 1,000. I saw, right?
400 bucks.
400. I had it on today's episode today.
You better have working
I paid-
transporters and a replicator for that much.
Well, if it's $400, I want it already built.
Yeah.
You know?
But
And they gave
the
you a
Batmobile-
shuttlecraft with Roe Laren.
the Batmobile, I got one of the last ones because it got discontinued the other day. So,
No, man.
but it's gonna be fun. I had did a Lego Jedi Starfighter last summer, so it's just gonna be a thing that I do just to relax.
I had to look that one up because I couldn't remember what that Batmobile looked like.
I
It's
shared
the,
it in.
Yeah,
I
it's
shared
very
it
similar to
on
the.
it.
Yeah,
This,
it's pretty cool.
No, this is the animated series, the Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill,
Yeah.
cartoon series Batmobile. That I fell in love with it. That was my infection point for Batman.
Yeah, I love that Batmobile.
It's the long one with the nose and the.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Good one. Yeah, all right, right on. Cam, or no, sorry, Jeff.
Oh, well, I was on a stream yesterday, and I mentioned you guys, Snob and Cam. I brought you guys up
Right
quite
on.
a bit.
Didn't mention us, Madman. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I know. I was about to say that.
Sorry, but yeah, I was on an episode of Game Master Rogers' Neighborhood, and the focus was RPG discussions, specifically sci-fi RPGs. So it was
that's
a
right.
blast. We went for almost 3.5 hours. So situation normal, right? Every stream I'm on runs about 3.5 hours.
Wonder why.
Oh, we were good this week on Man Man Cafe. We only hit the 2.5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We did good on that. I was also on Mamad stream on Monday. Probably will be back next Monday. We had a lot of topics. That's always fun, and I am working on a couple of things for Jason's channel, which I've already dropped the link in the chat for. And eventually I'll get around to putting some more stuff up on my own channel. I've got stuff to do. I just, got to find the time because there's a lot of stuff I'm working on. So, but I will be here next Wednesday with Snob at the very least. Hopefully Cam will bless us with his presence. And I'd like to encourage everybody to come out, drop in, say hi. I don't know how strict we're going to be on keeping it topical to Babylon 5, but if anybody's got anything to say, we want you to come. We want you to visit. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget super chats. I didn't see anybody drop a super chat today, but super chats are available now. So keep pimping the show, man. That's my job, and that's what I want to do.
Right on. Cam.
Sunday we have Top Lofty Lounge at 11 Eastern, and we will be we won't be watching prior to the show Planet of the Apes, original Planet of the Apes, 1968, I think it was.
Damn dirty apes.
67.
Damn dirty apes.
Yeah,
Get your hands off me.
Great movie.
Great movie. Yeah. I already watched it once, and I got to see it again. And next week on this show, of course, we're going to have a Thanksgiving call-in show pre-Thanksgiving because you Americans have Thanksgiving. We have snow, but you have Thanksgiving, and we're going to talk about whatever. I mean, Babylon 5. We're going to look at seasons 1 and season 2. Open it up. Anyone can jump in and talk, and it should be a good show. It'll be interesting. A little bit of a break.
Thanks to everyone in the chat for all your great comments and everyone who came on the panel tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
And one other thing, I spoke to a pretty famous science fiction author about a month ago, asking him about doing an interview, and he has finally come back to me. He's got himself sorted out, and he says he'll do it. So I got to get that organized and set up. But for Top Lofty, we may have an interview with a fairly big. I think he is pretty big. He's got about 20-25 books out. Science fiction author. I won't pass his name out yet because we haven't set it up. It's not. He says he wants to do it, but sometimes these things can fall through. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have that. It'll probably not be live. It'll have to be recorded because he's in the UK, and it's a little bit tough to get on our show at 4:00 in the morning on Sunday. So probably be recorded.
Dean does
and then,
it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I'm going to do.
I know.
I'm not gonna. But yeah. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we might see something like that. Should be interesting. All right. Okay. That's about all I have. Thanks
What's the
everybody.
trivia
again for,
questions? Oh
No
wait,
trivia.
we don't have any. We don't have any trivia
We don't have
questions.
trivia.
no trivia on this.
No trailer?
No trailer.
Oh.
So we have we're
trailer.
gonna head out. We're gonna head out with the Madman's final promo trailer, a little shorter than the other one, and then we're gonna head out with the outro, and that'll be it. Thanks everybody for coming by. We appreciate it. Good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Good night, Al.
Enjoy the
ya.
enjoy the trailer.
Later.
Good night.
And if you don't join us, happy Thanksgiving.